The fight for Western Conference supremacy has produced a hard-nosed clash which has taken its toll both physically and mentally. The veteran Jazz have capitalized on this. An abundance of experience has helped them to a 3-game lead. They've dominated the Lakers this entire series, putting on a clinic of teamwork and appear destined to make their second straight trip to the finals. The youthful spirit of the Lakers has been deflated. Their hopes for a championship berth seem doubtful. Time is now their enemy, obstacles surrounding them at every turn. They experienced a similar heartache earlier this season, but their fortunes changed after Laker great Jerry West crafted a motivational message. The team's vice president wrote, "You're letting the season slip through your fingers. You need to be consumed by Laker pride. Only one team will be champion. That team could and should be the Lakers." The Lakers know they must respond with the same intensity that enabled them to win 61 games. Or will they collapse when faced with fearless veterans? Their hopes for a championship run fall on broad shoulders as the Jazz march toward a clean sweep.
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1998 NBA playoffs. Today, it's the Utah Jazz versus the Los Angeles Lakers.
In the final minutes prior to Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals, the Lakers are pensive. Just over a week ago, they were the hottest team in the playoffs. Now they stand on the brink of elimination, unless they can match the heart of the defending Western champions. Meanwhile, across the Forum, the Jazz are so focused on the sweep and a return to the NBA Finals, the do not disturb word went out. No cameras in the Utah locker room. The Great Western Forum in Inglewood, California, is scene of Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Forum. Tom Hammond with Steve Jones and Bill Walton. You know, when this series began, all the buzz around the NBA was about the Lakers, how great they were playing after they dispatched Seattle. Well, they ran into a Utah team, Steve, that really elevated its game.
They did, Tom, and when you think about the careers of John Stockton and Karl Malone, they've had their hearts broken many, many times, and now they're smiling. They're saying, it's our turn to be the heartbreakers, and they are ready to close the door on the Los Angeles Lakers. But whenever they needed a big game and a big moment, it's either been Stockton or Malone to deliver the goods.
Well, Shaquille O'Neal has played well offensively for the Lakers, but Bill, what's happened to everybody else?
Tom, what was once the most electrifying, dynamic, and up-tempo offense in the NBA, the Laker fast-break attack has been reduced to rubble. Shaquille O'Neal has been playing absolutely phenomenal ball, averaging basically 30 points a game, leading the NBA playoffs in field goal percentage. But the rest of the guys have been standing around watching, doing absolutely nothing in the Lake show. Van Exel has not been proficient from behind the three-point line. Eddie Jones cannot get it done in the half-court game. Rick Fox's three-point game has absolutely disappeared, and Robert Horry has been badly outplayed by Karl Malone. Now, this Laker team is desperate right now. They've got to have it all come together. The chemistry has to be there, the defense to get it going again. They've got one last chance. Who knows what Laker team is going to show up today, Tom. They have not played well in this series.
All right, we're ready for Game 4, and so far, the experienced Jazz have handed the youthful Lakers a painful lesson. But in today's Game 4, will the mailman deliver a ticket to the finals, or will Shaq celebrate?
Due to popular demand, we've extended the Nissan Pre-Memorial Day event to Memorial Day and beyond, which means we've extended our incredible 1.9% APR financing on the quality and craftsmanship of the new Nissan Altima 1.9. Get down to your Nissan retailer now and spend Memorial Day and beyond somewhere really fun. In the new Altima, you can still get with 1.9% APR. The extended Nissan pre-Memorial Day event at your Nissan retailer. Only through June 1st.
My girls were in an accident. I called Prudential.
Good afternoon, Prudential.
They told me what to do.
We will do an estimate of the damages.
It was just wonderful.
And then begin immediate repair.
I can authorize a rental vehicle for you.
I have gotten other quotes from other insurance companies.
I'm calling about the accident you reported today.
They really can't compare.
We'll do what we need to do to get this resolved as quickly as possible. You're all set.
Thanks for calling Prudential.
I've found a good company, and I'm staying with them.
Welcome back to the Forum for Game 4. Utah goes with Malone, Russell, Foster, Hornacek, and Stockton, Horry, Fox, O'Neal, Jones, and Fisher for the Lakers. Game 4, Utah looking for the sweep. Bennett Salvatore, Joey Crawford, and Jack Neese, the officials for today's game. Salvatore's first game back since he was injured when Mario Elie knocked him into the scorer's table during the regular season.
The beginning of the ball game is extremely important for the Los Angeles Lakers. They've got to set some sort of tempo that gives them a chance to say, we're going to win this game, we're going to win it comfortably.
Jack up and under draws the foul from Greg Foster.
Terrific execution in the set offense for Los Angeles. Every set play, Shaquille should handle the ball, punish the Utah Jazz men inside, let the three-pointers come out of transition on the break.
First free throw finds the bottom of the net. Jerry Sloan's defense has been content to concentrate on the others, while Shaq has averaged nearly 30 points a game. It's been rarely double teaming, and if they do double, it's very quickly and then back to get your man.
Tom, it's been a brilliantly conceived game plan by Jerry Sloan, and everything that they've thought about has worked to perfection.
Malone with a finger roll over Shaq.
That looked like George Gervin.
You know, their idea is to try to quicken the game. So the Los Angeles Lakers are going to try to come out and trap, get the ball out of John Stockton's hand. They don't want those kinds of results, layups on the other end.
Skip pass to Fisher for three, and Derek Fisher finds the net on the Lakers' first three-point attempt of the game.
Steve, the problem with either one of these teams, the Lakers or the Jazz, trapping their opponent, is that Horry and Karl Malone play that high-post swingman position so well.
Horry guarding Karl Malone. Malone to Hornacek. Jeff Hornacek over Derek Fisher.
Now there's a guy that's due for a bust-out game. Normally a big, difficult shot maker, has been quiet out on the road, and I'm sure that he wants to get going early here against the Lakers.
Hornacek averaging only 7 points a game in this series and hitting under 30% of his shots. O'Neal, no basket, wave it off. Foul out on the floor.
You look around and he finds Jeff Hornacek's number, but what they have done is make it difficult for Shaq to get his initial move. He plays in kind of a rhythm, and if he can't get that good rhythm, he seems to be a little confused, and it takes him a lot longer to get into the game. 30 shots the last time out.
Hornacek's first foul, second against the Jazz. Here's Fisher off an O'Neal screen. Got a pick from Horry. Horry falls down, so does Malone. Horry manages to save it. 7 to shoot. O'Neal.
A different Shaquille O'Neal to start the game. He's been playing that way in the second half. Fox up to double-team Stockton every time. Shaq going quickly before any double team or any defensive situation for Utah can get set.
Shaq has half the Laker points to open the game.
The deep position by Shaquille. And look, he doesn't even wait. He just goes right by Foster. When the defender puts his hands up while the man's still dribbling down low, that's a surrender. Wave the white flag quickly.
9 to shoot for the Jazz. Russell, that's a 2, had his foot on the line, no good, and rebounded by Shaquille O'Neal.
The Jazz feel their success has been on offense because of the willingness to make the extra pass. Laker big men don't rotate that well defensively. Right now, the Jazz are shooting the ball very quickly off the first exchange of the ball.
That plays into the hands of the Lakers. The Lakers then can rebound the ball, run the ball. Fox just forced his way in, couldn't convert.
Malone the rebound, the outlet to John Stockton.
Foster in transition, wide open. He's been beating Shaq up and down the court.
Hornacek. Jeff Hornacek. That's what they needed to get him off. He has 4 points in the early going, 2 for 2 shooting, and we're tied. Eddie Jones. And the Lakers like to see that because Jones has been struggling after that superb series against Seattle. He's found the going tough against the Jazz.
Del Harris told us yesterday, I got to keep Eddie Jones out of foul trouble because I need his offense, and he needs to see Eddie Jones strike early.
Malone got a step on Horry and caught on the top side. Horry concedes the layup to Malone.
Again, John Stockton, the perfect delivery of the pass. Robert Horry telling us that they know when Malone's going to break free. The experience of this Jazz team really coming into play here.
Baseline fall away from Shaq won't go, and Malone has the board. His second.
Stockton, another hard hit going to the ground. Can't believe he doesn't get calls on those plays.
Greg Foster from outside. Shaq had position on Malone, hauls it down and gets it to Fisher.
Karl Malone now matched up on Shaq.
You'll watch when Karl Malone is guarding Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq has a difficult time getting inside, gets mugged right off the bat.
Hard foul by the mailman on Shaquille O'Neal. It takes a pretty good blow to take that man to the canvas.
Down low, and he's going to lead with his rear end as he always does, and then Karl Malone makes no attempt to make a play on the ball, so they call a flagrant foul.
There's Malone just grabbing Shaq, and so the flagrant foul.
Well, it's amazing the punishment that Shaquille O'Neal takes each and every game out there. Karl Malone, as big, as strong a player as there is in this league, and he just looks dwarfed out there next to Shaq.
How much does this Shaq bench press? You don't have the number?
Shaq doesn't lift a lot of weights. That's just all natural right there.
He is a 2 of 4 at the free throw line, but Karl Malone is a dedicated man in the weight room.
Oh, Karl Malone, one of those guys who just does it all season long. In fact, last year, after the finals were over, 2 weeks afterward, they had the Rocky Mountain Summer Review League with the rookies up there in Salt Lake City.
Shaq over Foster.
Inside, but Karl Malone, just 2 weeks after that, the heartbreaking loss to Chicago, Karl was in that weight room, riding the stationary bike, and all the coaches who were there, the rookies had already left. They saw Karl in there. They went back to the hotel and got the rookies and brought him back and said, this is what the NBA MVP is all about, Karl Malone. With Jordan, one of the most supremely conditioned athletes in the history of the NBA.
Karl making the head fake there and drawing the foul from Robert Horry. Horry's first. First foul against the Lakers as Malone with 4 points to the free throw line.
Now, this is a nervous crowd. Normally, the Lakers crowd is not this noisy. They're more of a front-running crowd. They're waiting for the Lakers to give them something. But since they've come into the building, this crowd has been a little buzzy, and they're hoping to keep the brooms away. John Stockton and Karl Malone, 27 years, and they've only missed 27 games.
And 18 of those came this year with John Stockton's knee injury. So now you're blaming the crowd?
No,
the Lakers not playing well?
No. This crowd wants it. You know, I think that's going to help the Lakers this afternoon. You know, one of the few times, I mean, in Game 3, this crowd only responded when the Lakers did something positive. And I think they're ready to stay in this game the entire ballgame.
Jazz ball after Eddie Jones shot an air ball on an attempted three. And Malone with a little shove for Horry as the Jazz bring it up court, trailing by 1.
Great pick by Foster.
And the illegal one, that's why it was so great, is he checked Eddie Jones. Yeah.
Just because the defender goes down doesn't mean it's an offensive foul. 2 quick fouls on Greg Foster. He'll have to go to the bench. Stockton just keeps curling here. He's standing right there. That's not a foul on Greg Foster. That's a great flop by Eddie Jones.
Foster sits down. Greg Ostertag is on.
One thing that the Lakers, and even though they whined about it a lot, and they've got more than their share of calls in all 3 ball games. Derek Fisher.
Nice fake to get open. Couldn't finish with the shot as Malone hauls down his 3rd board.
Karl dominant on the defensive board. They position him at the weak side position there all the time.
They like to pull O'Neal out high, so this allows Karl Malone a chance to work against Robert Horry, and then they get a reaction with the cutter going through the hoop.
Malone short on the jump hook. Horry clears it. Fisher in a hurry. This is the tempo the Lakers prefer. Fisher couldn't finish. Ostertag rips it away.
Get your
Fisher
elbows.
stripped it. Derek Fisher.
Get your elbows out, Greg Ostertag. You can't stand in there and hold the ball in your lap like it's your lunch.
There's the double on Shaq. Jump hook, no good. Got his own and jams it home.
Well, he was the torch in Game 3. He had 39. You couldn't say he didn't bring it, but he is really bringing a lot of energy. Normally struggling on the board early, but O'Neal doing the job offensively and defensively on the glass.
8 points and 3 boards for Shaq thus far, with 6:06 left in the opening quarter.
Greg Ostertag can't bring this rebound in. You see how his elbows are down around his side. That just won't get it done. The little guys will come in there like the vultures.
And then Shaq got his own rebound and took care of business. Lakers by 3.
Hi, I'm Grant Hill, professional basketball player for the Detroit Pistons. You know, when I get thirsty, I reach for Sprite. You see, Sprite refreshes me like nothing else because it's the only drink with that cool, crisp, refreshing taste that satisfies even my manliest thirst. Yep, that's Sprite for you.
Drink Sprite because you like it, not because an athlete says he does.
Hey, I'm going to McDonald's. You want anything?
Yeah, give me a Big Mac and fries.
Wait, did somebody say McDonald's? Coffee and a cheeseburger.
A number 3, and supersize it.
Cheeseburger, apple pie, Coke, and you've called mine 7.
Sorry, fell in the mailroom. Look, we need 4 Big Macs. Could you hurry, please? Thanks.
Did somebody say McDonald's?
Last year, Americans bought over 4 million back massagers, thousands of vibrating chairs, and so many things that look like this and this that we wonder if some people aren't sleeping on the wrong mattress. We'd recommend a Sealy Posturepedic sleep system, slept on by more people than any other mattress, including more orthopedic surgeons. Posturepedic support, only from Sealy.
A new feature has just been added to the new Nissan Altima's already startling array of standard features and amenities. Something that makes its exceptional quality and craftsmanship even more exceptional. And while you'll find it built into every new Nissan Altima, it won't be built in for long. 1.9% APR financing for a limited time at your Nissan retailer.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Miller Lite, who reminds you that whenever you feel good, it's Miller time. By the new Nissan Altima. Nissan, life is a journey. Enjoy the ride. And by Nike.
Welcome back to the Forum. I'm Jim Gray. Well, the Lakers have been looking for some leadership other than out of Shaquille O'Neal. This morning they got some in written form. Derek Fisher, the second-year player for the Lakers and point guard, wrote each of the Lakers a 2-page letter. Let me read briefly what it says. Now is the time for us to do what we have done before. We must not give in. We must not allow the peripheral opponent to divide us. We must stick together. There is no tomorrow, only today. Very reminiscent of what Jerry West did when he wrote a letter to the Lakers in February, and he's hoping, guys, that it'll bring the same response. Tom? All right, Jim, thank you very much. Corey Blunt is on for the Lakers, replacing Robert Horry as Shaq misses. Shaq has scored the last 5 Laker points, but missed there. Stockton takes it all the way. Short on his shot, kept it alive twice, and saved by Ostertag in backcourt.
Great hands, first time by Hornacek, second by Stockton. Just that little extra bit of quickness that the Utah Jazz have been exhibiting.
That's been the difference in the series. They have made the hustle plays and kept the separation in their favor. Ostertag at the rim.
Jeff Hornacek is playing the best basketball of the series. He's playing with a serious injury that he won't let on what it is to anybody. But it was just 10 days ago that he was the Jazz best player in the closeout against San Antonio.
Shaq came up short with Ostertag in his face. Malone saves it off Blunt. It'll be Utah ball.
Karl Malone just a terror on the defensive boards early. the effort. He's done this twice now. First off Horry, now off Corey Blunt.
Jerry Sloan was concerned about what team would show up. Would they be happy that they got the big advantage and maybe take the afternoon off and get blown out? But they want to end it. Malone told me yesterday, I'm ready for the Daggers.
Well, Steve, we learned a lot about this Utah team in the last game of the regular season. Illegal defense called. But in that game here at the Forum between Utah and the Lakers, the Jazz had absolutely nothing to play for and virtually came down to the closing minute and had a real chance to win that game.
Jerry Sloan with his normal rotation sends Howard Isley in to replace John Stockton at the point, and Nick Van Exel is on for the Lakers replacing Derek Fisher.
And the guy that's got to step up is number 9. Van Exel has got to get into the open court. He's got to be a scoring factor. He's got to do a better job defensively. He's had a tough time against the pick and roll and against the stop and go herky-jerky Howard Isley.
In fact, a hand check there is the first foul on Van Exel.
Nick Van Exel's only shooting in the low 20s from three-point land. That won't get it done. And he's always had trouble guarding John Stockton. I think this matchup against Howard Isley might work a little bit better for him.
Steal by Jones. 3-on-1 break. Fox.
Good decision by Karl Malone. He's got to stay in the game. So he'd rather give up 2 points than get another foul and have to go to the bench since he knows this is a big start for them. They need him out on the floor.
Third Utah turnover, and the Laker margin is 3.
But a lot of those turnovers are coming because of great Laker defense up in the passing lane.
Karl misses from outside. Ostertag beat O'Neal for the rebound. Offensive board by Ostertag.
And what you like about the Jazz is their patience. They'll get the ball back, they'll calm everything down, and they'll go to something that they want to get.
Ostertag with a follow off the missed layup, and he just bangs Shaq out of the way to put it home.
The passing, the quickness, the change of pace, change of direction.
Eddie Jones with a 3 with a defender in his face. Good sign for Laker fans. Jones with 5 points.
Tom, what are the chances his mom called?
You remember in the Portland series, Eddie Jones was off to what his mom thought was not an aggressive enough start. Called him on his cell phone on the way to the Forum and said, you've got to be more aggressive, more assertive. He responded with a tremendous series in the latter games of the Portland series and then against Seattle. In fact, at one point, he had consecutive games of 23, 29, 32 points, all career playoff highs. Fox misses from outside.
But, Tom, if that's all it takes, a phone call from Mom on the way to work, if all it takes is Derek Fisher writing a letter, why don't they do that every game?
Bill, don't underestimate the power of Mom.
I never do. They're going to have to call a flagrant foul right back there.
Well, they get even as Utah swings the ball around, and then it's a steal, and Eddie Jones a quick push the other way, and an easy score for Rick Fox.
And Eddie Jones with a big 3. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
A new feature has just been added to the new Nissan Altima's already startling array of standard features and amenities. Something that makes its exceptional quality and craftsmanship even more exceptional. And while you'll find it built into every new Nissan Altima, it won't be built in for long. 1.9% APR financing for a limited time at your Nissan retailer.
38 shots, 2 passes, 2. Man, you ain't even letting the ground touch the ball.
There's only one set of prints on this ball. Your son's.
No, I pass. Sometimes.
Pass the ball, dog. Come on, pass me the ball. Pass the ball, dog.
Jimmy, do it. The man says pass the ball.
I'm waiting. GP, I think I got something.
It's never easy busting a kid who hasn't learned that passing is fun. You just hope he turns him around.
Hello from Plank Road, where Sparky has just won the National Flatbed 400. Way to go, Sparky. Ice House is like a dream come true. It's ice brewed, so there's never any watered down taste, just more of what you want in a beer.
Back up, chunky boy.
Thanks, and enjoy.
NBC Tonight. Beethoven's back, and he brought some friends. A special Sunday movie for the whole family. Beethoven's Second, 7/6 Central, NBC Tonight.
Lakers up 2 on the Jazz. Earlier, Karl Malone called for a flagrant foul on O'Neal, and Shaq returning the favor.
Tom, one of the problems with Shaq being the biggest, strongest guy in the league is that what looks like inconsequential contact there, but the little extra push there in the back, they're going to have to call that. As the biggest player, Shaq has to be a little bit more careful the way he lands on top of people.
He laid some wood intentionally. He wanted to let Karl Malone know, I'm back at you. We're not going to go without you getting hammered like I've been getting hammered.
But Shaq, nor Karl Malone, they're not flagrant foul type of players. These are MVP caliber players.
But I think Steve's right. Shaq wanted to send that message right back at you. We're not laying down here in Game 4.
Well, Shaq was telling me, you know, he's just very frustrated at the way the team is playing and how they're not able to get into their fast break game, and it's a sign of frustration.
Now it'll be Jazz ball as we check in with Jim Gray.
All right, Tom, kind of a poignant moment in the Laker locker room before the game. Somebody walked in and was walking around all the Lakers, got to Shaquille O'Neal and said thanks and goodbye. Shaq looked at him and said, goodbye? We're not going anywhere. Not now, Tom.
All right, I wouldn't want to get Shaq fired up. You don't think that was a Jazz emissary, do you?
Well, the Jazz have done what they had to do. Stay in the ball game early and get a jump ball as they tie up Karl Malone.
Blunt had Malone and Shaq coming down to help, ties him up.
Well, Tom, there's a lot of very confident Jazz fans in this building here today. In fact, I noticed a number of them bringing brooms in to the building. The ushers questioning what they were doing with those brooms. They said they were here to clean out some lockers.
Shaquille slaps it out of bounds on the jump ball, so it'll be Utah basketball.
Now, Shaq is going to get a breather. Eldon Campbell comes in the ball game. 2:12 left in the first quarter.
Utah out shooting Los Angeles 50% to 44%, out rebounding them 11-5, but as you see, we are tied.
But that's just a continuation, Tom, of what's going on during the whole series.
Malone muscles his way in, then Campbell with a nice block out of Ostertag for the rebound. One of the differences has been the 3 Utah turnovers, and the Lakers have not yet turned it over. Fox hit the underneath side of the rim. Campbell lost it, but Fox is able to save it. Van Exel for 3.
Terribly quick shot. There was no reset of the clock. Still at least 10 seconds to go when Nick pulled the trigger.
And Malone already has a half dozen rebounds.
One of the ways for all of the Lakers to get their game going is take shots that they can make. And they start with 3-point field goals. Those will eat your confidence up in a hurry if you're not knocking them down.
Rick Fox commits the foul.
Trying to hold Brian Russell away from the ball. The Jazz have all learned from Stockton, from Hornacek, from Isley about that change of pace, change of direction. You sort of walk your man in, and then at the opportune time, you just bust and get right open. As the forum lights up with the sign of Kobe Bryant going to the scorer's table.
Bryant's into the game, replacing Fox.
Del Harris is going to need offense from Kobe Bryant, Eddie Jones, and Eldon Campbell with this unit out on the floor. And they've somehow got to wake Eldon Campbell up. He has gone to sleep in the conference finals. Almost been a non-factor for the LA Lakers.
Utah by a deuce. Their second lead today. They were ahead 2-1 early in the contest.
Now, see, Utah is trapping, and they don't have Robert Horry in there to play the top man, and that's going to hurt the Lakers.
Bryant had nowhere to go with it. Jones was able to save it, but then Ostertag blocks it, and the Jazz have it.
Look how hard Karl Malone's running the floor.
Russell looking into Malone, guarded by Campbell.
The Lakers have to stay committed to a sprint game. Tough shot, Russell.
Blunt clears it to Van Exel.
Steve, Utah is not making that early pass in the first quarter of this afternoon's game.
Campbell rimmed out, offensive board by Blunt. Bryant wide open, passes up the three. Now Campbell low post again, bowling his way against Ostertag, who got a piece of it. Isley.
Ostertag is extremely long, and Campbell's going to have to do a better job of getting the shot away. He thinks he can just jump over him, and he can't.
Look at the patience of Karl Malone in the low post.
Ball away over Blunt, won't go down. Campbell to Bryant, and the Lakers will hold for the final shot of the period.
Gary Sloan is hot. And he wants better defense out of his team. Gets it right there as they force a mistake from Kobe Bryant, and they will have the final 5 seconds for a score.
The Jazz love to throw long here and then kick out to a guy who's stepping onto the basket. Watch for Karl Malone to be the swing guy. Running out of time, though.
Isley lost it, and the horn sounds to end the first quarter. Utah ends the quarter with a 6-0 run to take the lead. At the end of one, it's Utah 20 and Los Angeles 18. The marquee players coming to play today with 8 points apiece. That's the end of the first quarter. In Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals, it's the Jazz 20 and the Lakers 18. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
Due to popular demand, we've extended the Nissan Pre-Memorial Day event to Memorial Day and beyond, which means we've extended our incredible 1.9% APR financing on the quality and craftsmanship of the new Nissan Altima 1.9. Get down to your Nissan retailer now and spend Memorial Day and beyond somewhere really fun. In the new Altima, you can still get with 1.9% APR. The extended Nissan Pre-Memorial Day event at your Nissan retailer, only through June 1st.
I'll be right back.
I hate it when that happens.
Hey, little brother, need a ride to practice?
We just finished.
Let's go.
Now every time you hit the road,
Susie, need a ride to ballet?
I don't teach ballet.
So?
you can grab the chicken you crave with KFC's Colonel Strips.
Hey, Grandma, want to run to the store?
No, I don't.
For a limited time, grab 3 boneless all-white meat spicy buffalo or Colonel's crispy strips, wedges, and a Pepsi for just $2.99.
Taking Bubbles to the vet.
Isn't it time for some really good chicken?
The feel of smart design is the feel of flexibility. Shift Tracer FX is the only razor that flexes to cover every sensitive curve. A design so smart, you can feel it. Schick, the feel of smart design.
Start the second quarter with the Jazz up 2 as the physical nature of play has continued in Game 4.
Attitude is what shapes physical play, and we have seen early between the big stars, they have the attitude that they're not giving up any turf without laying a little wood down, and that's been the story of the first quarter of play.
But notice how those stars take that punishment. They don't respond by losing their head and getting in a confrontation that could get them ejected and possibly cost them a game or even a series.
Utah out shooting the Lakers 41-32. Los Angeles has gone over 3 minutes without scoring.
Now, the Lakers have been troubled by 30% shooting every first quarter as Shandon Anderson wheels inside against Bryant.
Well, Steve, the numbers are staggering in favor of the Utah Jazz throughout the series, and they're continuing. Shandon Anderson continues as well to punish Kobe Bryant inside.
Chris Morris also in for the Jazz as the Lakers turn it over. So Van Exel's already gone to the bench. And Shandon Anderson's been one of the heroes.
The star the other night who was huge in the fourth quarter with 13 points. Shandon Anderson just devastating in the post. This is a tough lineup for Del Harris. Not a lot of guys in the front court other than Robert Horry who are fluid thinkers on the court.
Antoine Carr into the game for the Jazz as Shaquille returns for the Lakers and Eldon Campbell will go to the bench. Stockton continues to sit as Jerry Sloan has gotten such great production from his bench. Why not?
The patience of Jerry Sloan, Tom, in the substitution pattern amazes me. But he knows, and then they've really worked on building confidence in his players.
Isley for 3, and the Jazz, with 5 reserves on the court, are handing it to the Lakers much as they did Friday night in Game 3.
Yeah, those same reserves built a 10-point lead for Jerry Sloan, and that had the L.A. Lakers fighting uphill the entire ball game. Confident bench looking on as Howard Isley steps back. And you want to see confidence, and this is a guy that was struggling coming into this series, nails a deep 3.
But the confidence in that he knows no matter what, he's going to play 15 to 25 minutes a game. Another tough call against the Jazz in the post.
And already their bench outscoring the Lakers 9-0, a pattern that has been all too familiar to Los Angeles. The Jazz bench has outplayed the Lakers in 2 of the 3 games so far in this series, and 9-0 to start this one, Game 4.
And they'll all want to go to the All-Star game.
Why not?
Well, one of the real keys for Utah is that their second-round draft picks, they got a lot of those guys on this team. They have been playing like all-stars of late.
Kobe Bryant continues to struggle. O'Neal can't handle that wild effort. And the Lakers turn it over. They didn't have a turnover until Kobe came into the game, and since then, they've been plagued with 3 turnovers.
Well, they're not all Kobe. I mean, Kobe's not doing what he should do, which is shoot. He's trying to now become a passer. Let it go. Do what you do best. There's no tomorrow for the Lakers. Suddenly they want to be a pass, an extra pass team. You're going to get a foul against Kobe Bryant.
Now, Steve, I believe Kobe is responsible for 2 of the 3.
Kobe quickly to the bench here after the turnovers, after picking up the foul. It looks like pretty good defense there.
Eddie Jones onto the court for Los Angeles as Shandon Anderson trying to post him up. Now sets a back screen for Carr. Isley.
They got Antoine Carr with the mismatch. He's wide open.
5 on the shot clock. Isley again.
For 3. Howard Isley, back-to-back 3-pointers.
Tom, the Jazz work on that with Isley all the time, where they count down the shot clock as he's got the dribble, because he's the guy who has it so many times at the end of that shot clock. They work on the bump, the push, the forced rush shot. He's ready to deliver.
Jones finally breaks the spell with a Laker bucket after the Jazz, thanks to their bench, had built a 10-point edge. That one cuts it to 8. Utah had scored 12 straight points.
Why don't the Lakers pass it to Shaq more in the set offense?
The Jazz, no one else for that matter, have found an answer for him yet. That's probably what Del Harris asks every time out. He may be asking that as we speak. Timeout. 9:17 left, and the Jazz starting to smell the sweep.
Can Larry Bird's Pacers even their series with Michael and the Bulls? The answer, Monday.
Dude, get down. It's my chair. Let's go. I'm not playing games.
Okay, here we go again.
Oh, dude.
He's got him right where he wants it. Just a bit outside.
Hey, those dog obedience classes really paid off. There's no need to go anywhere but the Home Depot for your lawn and garden. We've got it all.
You can get wheelbarrows, you can get fertilizer, you can get
Tools, shovels, rakes, hoes.
bushes, shrubs, trees.
You're going to get a better deal than you would somewhere else.
You can get everything you need for your yard right here. You should be able to get it all in one spot. I'm sorry you travel so much.
Feed your lawn through your sprinkler with Miracle-Gro's new no-clog 4-in-1 feeder and plant food. They're both at the guaranteed low price every day at the Home Depot.
With formidable strength and a distinctly individual style, this Sierra is the most powerful half-ton truck in GMC's history. Sierra gives you the style to stand apart from the herd and the power to pull it. Sierra by GMC, putting you comfortably in command.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Budweiser. Now is the perfect time to enjoy a fresh, cold Beechwood aged Budweiser. By GMC. See your local dealer today. And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. You either have it in you or you don't. Life is a sport. Drink it up.
The key to being a good bench player is to be able to come in and change the flow of the action, and that's what this entire second unit, which plays together so well, has done. Shandon Anderson, Ostertag, Isley, everyone delivering. Antoine Carr setting great screens. The bench production for the Utah Jazz. Greg Ostertag has played marvelous ball today.
And that's from a former NBA sixth-man award winner in praise of the bench. Yesterday we saw the Pacers bench pay some dividends in their win over the Bulls, but I think that the Jazz bench is the best in the NBA.
I agree with you, Tom, and Larry Bird certainly showed a lot of confidence in those guys, and the quickness of Jalen Rose, the quickness of Travis Best really paid big dividends for Indiana.
Right now you have a Laker team that's confused offensively as how to attack, and that's one of the reasons Shaq is not getting the ball. Eddie Jones with the runner against the shot clock.
I'll tell you how
they ignore Shaq.
I'll tell you how you get Shaq the ball. Put him in the low post, have him to put his hand up and come down and throw it to him. There's nothing confusing about that.
But it gives the Utah Jazz some credit. They're confusing them, and that's creating a problem.
I see the Utah big front court players. More bench again from Antoine Carr. These guys can set screens, they can handle, they can pass, they can shoot. And the skilled players.
The carnage continues at 16-2 now in favor of the Utah bench against their Laker counterparts as Antoine Carr knocked in the last one.
And one of the major differences, Gary Sloan has a ton of confidence in his bench, and he's letting these guys play. As Bill pointed out early, Bill Harris is looking for a combination, and his players are in or out in a short period of time.
But Steve, to Sloan's credit, he builds confidence. Oh, nice clear out by Shaq with the off arm.
Why do they not go to him every time is the question.
I thought I asked that.
Well, it hangs. It continues to just hang around here. It's been out there for some time. Ostertag misses a jam. Fox leads the Laker break, but the Jazz are back on defense.
Good hustle, Antoine Carr to deny Shaq in transition.
You know, what the Lakers have to do is take advantage of getting to the offensive end quickly and create a quick offensive opportunity. Shaq busting through 2-3 screens to try to finally get position. You don't clear out, Bill.
Well, you just dropped the left arm. He's very good. The great scorers do that. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the greatest scorer in the history of the game. He was the master at that. Take it up with two hands. At the last moment, just drop it off.
That was foul. Ostertag committed that last foul, and now Joey Crawford with another call here. Double foul on Isley and then on Fisher.
Normally you'd look up at the clock, 7:40, and say the Lakers are in good shape. Jazz got 14 fouls. Next one puts the Lakers at the line, but the Lakers have been awful in delivering the goods from the free throw line in this series.
2 of 4 in today's game as Fisher misses from outside, but Horry with an offensive board.
Steve, I'm looking at the same scoreboard you are. I don't see how the Lakers can feel good about having 22 points with 7 minutes to go in the second quarter.
They can't and shouldn't, you know, but they've got to stay in the ball game, and one of the ways to do it is to attack early. Shandon Anderson
lost it to Fox, and then Fox throws it away. Morris couldn't hang on, and Shaquille O'Neal to Eddie Jones.
Great strength on the outlet by Shaq.
Fisher.
Not his shot.
He got his own. Penetrates this time. Still can't hit. Horry is fouled. Looks like it'll be Antoine Carr with a foul. Timeout at the Forum, 6:47 left till halftime. The Jazz up 8 on the Lakers.
With formidable strength, a distinctly individual style, and the strongest V8 in its class, this is the most powerful Sierra in GMC's history. Sierra gives you the style to stand apart from the herd, and the power to pull it. Sierra by GMC, putting you comfortably in command.
This is for Reverend O'Brien, who always told me to give it my best shot. For my grandmother, who showed me what real courage is. And for myself, who found it.
You're being signed by your favorite NBA team. You and your friends take a private jet to the All-Star game. You're playing horse with your pal Michael Jordan.
Nice shot.
Now your dreams can actually come true with the Gatorade NBA Dreams game. Just uncap a Gatorade and you could uncap your dreams. And who knows?
All right, try this.
Maybe you'll win that game of horse.
For Cynthia Cooper, there are so many memories. Winning back-to-back national championships, bringing home Olympic gold, being a million miles away, and returning to the ones she loved. So many memories. It's time to make some more.
This is just amazing what Cynthia Cooper is doing. Raise the roof, Houston.
Shirley MacLaine is the first lady.
That's a good boy.
Nicolas Cage has to watch her.
Hold the pin.
I'm a Secret Service agent, not a caddy.
Guarding Tess, NBC Tonight.
Welcome back to Los Angeles. The Lakers trail by 8, but if you look up in the rafters with all the banners that are hanging in the retired jerseys, you see the Los Angeles Sparks. Hoping to have her jersey retired. The first draft pick of the Sparks, Allison Feaster. Sparks get underway on June the 11th. Allison, you had a big decision. You could have went to Wall Street. You're a Harvard graduate, but you decided to play in the WNBA. How difficult was that decision?
Not very difficult at all. I mean, a 9-to-5 job versus doing something you love, you know, and getting paid for it. Wasn't tough at all for me.
Training camp getting ready to get underway. How are the Sparks going to be this year?
I think it'll be awesome. Training camp is pretty tough right now. We have 18 very talented women, you know, competing for spots. We're going to be very talented. We should make a run for the championship.
Got any advice for your Laker compadres?
Keep playing hard. Boxing out. They should win this game.
Good luck, Allison. We look forward to seeing the WNBA. Tom, starts June the 13th here on NBC.
That's right. The Sparks will be at Phoenix on that opening weekend of play here on NBC as Robert Horry hits the free throw. And Robert Horry, praised by his coach Del Harris as one of the more intelligent Lakers. You called him a cerebral forward, but playing often with a heavy heart. Has a young daughter born with severe birth defects, requires constant care. It has to be something that gnaws at his psyche occasionally.
It's always on his mind. I've known Robert for many years, a terrific young man, but that daughter has to have 24-hour day care time, and they really have to have a nurse with her all night long to make sure she continues breathing the young daughter as she sleeps, and it's a very, very serious problem. We all hope that can be resolved in the near future.
Isley is 3 for 3 behind the arc. And the bench continues to pay dividends for the Utah Jazz. Why even bring the starters back?
Well, babyface Isley is really playing the part of an assassin and hurting the Los Angeles Lakers. You know, their three-point game is not nearly as advertised as the Lakers, but it's been more efficient in this conference final.
Karl Malone is back for the Jazz now, but they're hitting over 80% of their shots in this quarter. Up against the clock, the Lakers with a miscue, 24-second violation. What else can go wrong? They just continue to make the mental mistake.
Terrific defense, though, by Utah. Shaq did not attack Antoine Carr. Shaq started this game going very aggressively. He had the huge numbers, but since he came back in after a brief rest, it has just not been there for Shaquille.
Well, there's 5:40 to go in the ball game, and what the Lakers have to do is just continue to work. They're not that far down on the scoreboard, even though they haven't had anything that they can believe in Malone.
No way to stop that.
Now, that's what makes this Utah team so great. All the cutters, the three-point shooters. But when you got a guy like Carl who you can give the ball, a great passer who can hit a fadeaway 18-footer, that's Kevin McHale. That's Larry Bird. That's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
And Shaq gets the roll. No way to stop that either. Los Angeles had turned it over 5 times in the last 6 minutes before that Shaq basket. That was after they went the first 11 without a miscue.
This is the starting lineup for the Lakers, with the exception of Van Exel for Derek Fisher. Del Harris been under a tremendous amount of criticism on his own website for starting Derek Fisher. But Dale Harris told us that, hey, it's not been our start, it's been our finishing.
That's right. That's why he was reluctant to start Van Exel in place of Fisher, as many fans and writers here in L.A. had called for.
You see, now you've got Lakers that are reluctant to shoot, and you've got to put the ball in the air. Van Exel was open, didn't. Sox didn't, and then they end up with a tough shot inside. They'll get the ball back with the new 24.
Steve, how did Karl Malone end up 5 feet off the court that time? Well, here's a guy in great defensive position, the anchor of the defense, and he ends up in photographer's row.
That guy that you said the biggest, the strongest, he gave him a little pop. Morris out of the ball game, Russell in. Chris Morris was terrific in game 3, has not been a factor, didn't get much done, so he goes down. O'Neal
tries the reverse, will shoot 2. Let's go to Jim Gray.
Often see players, Tom, going at it with the officials. That time, one of the more clever things that has gone on down here. Joey Crawford was screaming to Karl Malone, "It was off you, it was off you," and he was pointing at him, and Karl pointed back and he says, "You're right, you're right."
Well, actually, throughout this series, it's been the Lakers that have been crying the blues. I think, Bill and Steve, too much so, too focused on the officials not getting the calls, blah, 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 instead of just playing basketball.
And we saw Reggie Miller's comments in the post game yesterday saying, hey, look, we've been complaining too much. We got to come out and play basketball and take advantage of what the referees are going to allow. You have to be the aggressors. That's what Karl Malone has done. That's what John Stockton has done.
And Stockton is back for Utah at the point.
And it's a lot easier for Karl to agree with the referees when they're up 3-0.
That's right. And up in this game, 35-27. Low post Malone, checked by Blunt. And he blocks the fall away that time. Corey Blunt with a good D. Now Jones, one-on-one against Anderson. Gave it up.
See, they make that quick early swing, but nobody attacks. Now they're going to set up with O'Neal, and he's got to make his move quickly.
But the groan of the Laker fans when the team, the Lakers, just pulled up on that fast break and didn't attack.
And then O'Neal missed it. Point-blank range, right underneath.
Fast break points have been a half-court game. Utah's got 2. The Lakers have 2. This advantage clearly in favor of Utah's Karl Malone. Delivers on a beautiful up and under layup
from Stockton as he had the brilliant body control to evade Shaq and put it through. 14 points for the rest of the Lakers. Shaq has 13. That's been the theme of this series as well. 3-pointer by Van Exel.
Even though the shot goes down, you just don't see the look of confidence on Nick's face. You don't see him calling the crowd out.
Well, one of the things that will get you confidence is to take some shots, see it go in. And, you know, he had lost his confidence, forced to take that one. His fast break point situation, even Malone, the foul against Corey Blunt.
And that says that the tempo of the game in favor of the Jazz, as you noted, Bill.
Foul number 34, Shaquille O'Neal.
And as they go to the free throw line, Karl Malone will step there. And what is that I smell? That Karl Malone has this unusual superstition. He's worn the same pair of socks for every game this season.
And Tom, I was in the locker room with Karl before the game, and I was looking at that pair of socks, and he's sitting in there with just the one pair of socks, ratty as can be, holes everywhere. He spends a lot of time sewing it back together. It was not good. Looked like Karl had just spent the night at Venice Beach.
They're falling apart, but I like the fact that he darns them himself. And Jim Gray, how long can those socks last?
Well, they've lasted all season. He put some little booties over those socks. He said some guy just came in the locker room, made a big deal out of it. He says, I've been wearing the same pair of socks every year since I have been a pro now. I said, Karl, those have to smell pretty bad. He says, no, I get a new pair at the beginning of each year, but it's been the same superstition I've had now for 13 or 14 years.
Jim, I wouldn't call them booties in front of Karl if I were you.
No, that's what he called them.
Russell with a brick.
Russell's trying to shoot off his own dribble rather than trying to get it from other people's creativity.
And Eddie Jones off the transition game nails the jump shot. And just one final word about the socks. Who could forget the socks, the floppy socks of Pistol Pete Maravich, who played for the Jazz when they were in New Orleans. And Ostertag pounds it through. Pistol Pete's number hanging in the Delta Center now, one of the greatest players in the history of basketball.
And that franchise got their first victory ever at my expense. Pete Maravich hit a game winner in my face for the franchise's first victory down in New Orleans.
At Max muscles it in.
That's a first. An admission by you that you got much.
I got faced out by the great pistol. He torched us for 30-plus in the second half alone.
Lakers are within 6.
This game smells a lot like Game 3 in that the Jazz have the lead, have been controlling the tempo, and had the Lakers confused, but the Lakers have been hanging around trying to stay in it, and O'Neal and company trying to find a way to make it a ball game.
I have a lot of fun playing characters that are impulsive and dramatic, because the real me is pretty basic. I'm even a little practical. Like a while back, I noticed I had some flakes. So naturally, I started using Head & Shoulders. Of course, it helps keep the flakes away. And if it leaves my hair looking like this, why mess with a good thing?
Head & Shoulders changes dandruff problems
Into beautiful hair.
Does a car have instincts? Can it anticipate the next curve? One car can make you believe it does. With a patented steering and suspension system, you have the agility to outsmart the most elusive of roads. Get low 1.9% financing or great lease rates on Intrigue and all Oldsmobiles. Intrigue, a sophisticated twist on a sports sedan.
Announcing the new Miller Lite Scratch and Sniff Fantasy Sweepstakes. If you can smell it, you can win it.
I think it smells like burnt rubber.
Smell burnt rubber and hang with Rusty Wallace and his pit crew.
Oh, you idiot. It smells like menthol rub.
In that case, you win the grand prize. Tickets for 2 to the All-Star game of your choice.
Hey, what are you looking at?
See special displays for details.
Hi, I'm Hannah Storm in New York. Coming up on the Prudential Halftime Report, we'll have the latest from Indiana on the Eastern Conference Finals between the Bulls and Pacers. Chicago leads it 2-1. Both teams worked out earlier today. Chris Mullin practicing his free throw shooting. Larry Bird proudly displaying the Pacers motto. And a little bit later on, Michael Jordan appearing at Market Square Arena looking dapper in that hat and quite relaxed. Reggie Miller, by the way, did not practice today with his sprained right ankle. We will update his status at halftime. Right now in Los Angeles, the Jazz lead the Lakers by 6 as we send you back to Tom, Bill, Snapper, and Jim.
Thank you, Hannah. Back at the Forum where Shaq has just picked up his 3rd foul.
That's not good news, but they have been exposing O'Neal and the last line of defense as Karl Malone is coming hard to the rim, so consecutive fouls. He will sit down for the last 145. Elvin Campbell back in.
Steve, what the Jazz have really exploited, though, is that the Laker big men do not rotate defensively at all. They rely far too heavily on their great athleticism to get up in the air and block shots. The Jazz just picking Los Angeles apart with exquisite ball movement.
As Malone hits the first free throw, we invite you to log on to MSNBCSports.com, and there you'll find Showtime Online's inside story on the NBA playoffs. As Malone sights and hits the second free throw, you can see who's in John Sally's spotlight. Check on video features, get Bill Walton's game previews, and email in your playoff questions, all at Showtime Online, MSCSports.com.
Eddie Jones limping after that exchange.
Eddie Jones is the most effective offensive player now on the floor for the Lakers with Shaq out, but they go to Campbell and get a foul against Oster. Jeff Hornacek.
Hornacek with a reach-in, committing his 2nd.
But it's been a problem for Los Angeles trying to get Eddie Jones off here. When he has played really well, the Lakers have been virtually unstoppable. The games that the Lakers have not gotten good production from Eddie Jones, the team has struggled horribly.
And today it's been, again, mostly Shaq. Shaq has scored 15 points, and the rest of the team only 19. Shaq is accounting for 50% of their shooting and has hit 6 of 12. The rest of the team only 7 of 25.
Tom, this Laker team right now is playing a lot like the Laker team played when they had Kareem before they got Magic in the 1979 draft.
Malone and 1, the foul on Campbell.
You know what the beauty of this play is, the little subtle nod that Hornacek gives Karl Malone. Just go. Watch. It goes, and there's no screen. This is where the Lakers have been befuddled. They don't know when the screen is coming, when the guy is going to cut to the rim, and the defense, which are relying on the big man, is too late. Another foul. Malone with a chance to get to 10 points in the quarter.
In talking to the Jazz about their improved passing over the last couple of years, the coaching staff really feels that it came alive when Jeff Hornacek joined the team. Here's a guy that the cutting improved by everybody, the ball handling, the sense, the awareness that passing was such a vital part for this team's long-term success.
Jazz back up by 10. Fox chips 3 off the lead. Lakers needed that one with just over a minute, now just under a minute left in the half.
Every team has a personality, and the Lakers can't suddenly become a physical team, a half-court executing team. They've got to be what they are, and I'm sure they're going to talk about it in the next 24 minutes. Block.
Jones blocks Hornacek. Lakers get it back. They're down 7 just before halftime.
Time to go 2 for 1 for Los Angeles, but they can't even turn a great block shot into a quick scoring opportunity.
Van Exel leaves it. Layup missed by Jones. Missed the layup.
Intimidation, Ostertag.
And Fox with a foul of Hornacek.
Jeff Hornacek, really one of the great athletes.
You know, the best thing about the Jazz is they run straight line. Now, he is not running fluidly, but he's taking the straightest course to the hoop that he can, where the Lakers are not doing the same thing. They don't get the defense exposed in the open. Hornacek for a pair of free throws.
But, Steve, he's not just a great basketball player. When Jeff Hornacek was 9 years old, he was the national champion in the baseball pitch, hit, and throw championship.
His dad, in fact, was a high school baseball and basketball coach in the Chicago area.
And Jeff, the competition was in Atlanta, and they drove down there. The family did. Their mom was 9 months pregnant with the second son in the family, Jeff being the oldest. Jeff went down there and dominated the competition, and then went on to basketball greatness.
Was a walk-on at Iowa State, and it's become a brilliant pro. Lakers hold for the final shot with Van Exel. Scoops it up, no good. Follow, no good. At the buzzer. At the end of the first half, Shaquille O'Neal once again has played well. The rest of the team missing in action. At the end of the first half in Game 4, Utah looking for the sweep and leading the Lakers at intermission 47-38. Now stay tuned for the Prudential Halftime Report coming up after these messages. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
Does a car have instincts? Can it anticipate the next curve? One car can make you believe it does. With a patented steering and suspension system, you have the agility to outsmart the most elusive of roads. Get low 1.9% financing or great lease rates on Intrigue and all Oldsmobiles. Intrigue, a sophisticated twist on a sports sedan.
Happy birthday. Oh, good. Another apple. Where's Danny? Oh, you can tell by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman's man. No time to talk. Thank you. Stay in the light. Stay in the light.
Look under the cap or in specially marked packages of Dr. Pepper, and you could roll out with one of 25 Chevy Camaros or millions of other prizes. Catch the Pepper Prize fever.
Yo, man, my sister got a better jump shot than that.
Speaking of your sister, ain't those her shoes? Oh, you got like ballet practice after this or something?
Oh, you snapping on my shoes? Look at your sneakers. They so old, they say Air Moses on them.
Well, if I was in your shoes, I'd walk on my hands.
I thought your mom's got your baby shoes bronze, son.
What? Shouldn't you take your shoes off before you clip your toenails?
I ain't gonna front. Money sneakers is fat, P-H-A-T. Probably hurting all your toes. Word up.
How are little people doing today?
Just having the Sicilian from Pizza Hut.
How about a slice?
You can't handle the Sicilian. I mean, being a shallow corporate raider can't prepare you for garlic, basil, and oregano, or the blast of cheese, herbs, seasonings in every morsel.
Napkin?
Our new Sicilian pizza only at Pizza Hut. Only $8.99. For the absolute mother of a deal, get up to 3 toppings or any specialty pizza for $2 more.
I hope I wasn't out of line with that shallow corporate raider crack.
The Sicilian pizza from Pizza Hut. Can you handle it?
What a game. Yesterday in Indy, the fourth quarter was Miller time. Reggie Miller, hobbling with a sprained ankle, came up big as the Pacers squeaked out the win to cut Chicago's series lead in half. Now Larry Bird's team can even it up. But Michael and the Bulls have other ideas. A holiday special Monday at 3 Eastern on NBC. This is the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential, bringing strength and stability to America's families through insurance, healthcare, real estate, and financial services.
It's halftime of Game 4 with the Jazz leading the Lakers 47-38. Karl Malone leads all scorers with 18 points. Shaquille O'Neal has 15 for the Lakers, but not much help once again as they are just 1/2 away from elimination in this Western Conference Finals. Hi, everybody. Hannah Storm back with John Spider Sally, Peter Vesey, and Coach Gukas joining us for this weekend. And we'll talk about the first half of the Jazz and the Pacers in a little bit. But first, the Eastern Conference Final between the Bulls and the Pacers. Yesterday, Indiana beat Chicago in a thrilling Game 3 at Market Square Arena to trim the Bulls' lead in the series to 2-1. Reggie Miller had a big fourth quarter with 13 points, despite playing on a sprained right ankle. With more, we go to Bob Costas, Doug Collins, and Isaiah Thomas.
Hannah, first of all, Reggie Miller's situation. His injury is diagnosed as a mild ankle sprain. He's officially listed as day-to-day. He did not practice today, but you have to believe he'll be in the lineup tomorrow for Game 4. Speaking of Reggie, Doug, what was it that the Pacers did to free him up for so many shots in Game 3?
Bob, I think they made a real conscious effort to set better screens, and I think Reggie was much more patient in using the screens. With Travis Best in the game with his speed, the Bulls had to give him a little distance, so there were better passing lanes. You see Reggie getting ready to see the screen from Smits. Michael Jordan goes through the inside, Reggie fades and hits the open jump shot. Then on an inline out-of-bounds play, the double big screen by Rick Smits followed up by Davis, and you see Reggie come off, no switch, and this really was a killer shot because this put the Pacers up 8 late in the fourth period. So better screening, better use of the screens, better patience. And then the play of Jalen Rose and Travis Best off the bench was terrific. We know Reggie had the huge game with 28 points, but Rose and Best combined for 26. Their turnovers were down. They were a major factor. Isaiah?
Doug, I thought Chicago was very successful yesterday and winning the rebounding battle. Phil Jackson inserted Dennis Rodman in their lineup, and they won the rebounding battle 40-29. However, when Tony Kukoc is not in the lineup, you're not able to force as many turnovers. In Game 1 and 2, they were able to force 12 turnovers and have a plus 12 in steals. Now, Indiana made a conscious effort to knock Scottie Pippen down every time he moved. They wanted to take the pressure off of Mark Jackson in the backcourt. You'll see Dale Davis coming up here getting ready to set a back screen on Scottie Pippen. Dennis Rodman is late, don't call out the back screen, and Scottie Pippen gets nailed. I thought Indiana was very successful in accomplishing the little things that Larry Bird talked about, and they'll try to do them again Monday.
Hannah, it's a series again, and Market Square Arena will be jumping for Game 4 tomorrow. Back to you in New York.
Thanks, Bob. It's quite an atmosphere there in Indy, and the Pacers, the only team perfect at home in the playoffs. They're 6-0. They made some changes yesterday, Matt. What was working for them?
Well, Hannah, the two big adjustments that I saw Larry Bird and his staff make for Game 3. First, have Mark Jackson attack Scottie Pippen. He did it, and he did it well early. And number two, not have Mark Jackson on the floor for the last 15.5 minutes. It was Travis Best who was the finisher, and, of course, the heroics of Reggie Miller in that fourth quarter. But the Antonio Davis beating the master on the boards was outstanding. One of his 6 offensive rebounds. There's 3 of Reggie Miller's 13 fourth-quarter points. And Travis Best doing a good job of being the floor general, finding open people. And Jalen Rose, who has been a missing person, came up big with 15 points. But the bench has been strong all year long for Larry Bird. They are primed and ready.
Well, they've also been a bit inconsistent in the playoffs, but yesterday the bench playing about as well as they can for Indiana. They get a heroic performance from Reggie Miller down the stretch, and yet they only win by 2, Peter.
And that's what I saw on their faces, complete relief that the Bulls didn't run the table on them.
hugs after the game between Reggie Miller and Travis Best I thought were very inappropriate. Most people think that they'll never be able to beat the Bulls 4 games in a 7-game series. I say that's their only hope to go to 7 games because that's where their nuclear subs will be more of a factor.
Well, you've been on the other side with the Chicago Bulls. What's their mentality right now?
Well, everyone knows they let them off the hook. They wrote about it. We spoke about it. But they're saying, hey, we only lost by 2 on the visiting team. All we have to do is go back in, execute our offense, make sure we know where our men are on defense, and we'll come up with a win.
I think Michael Jordan called it a bump in the road, something like that. Our coverage begins tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern with NBA Showtime. Tip-off for the Bulls and Pacers is just after 3:30 Eastern. If the Lakers win today, Game 5 in the West will be Tuesday night. Our coverage begins at 9 o'clock Eastern. And Game 5 of the Pacers and Bulls back in Chicago on Wednesday night. Airtime at 9 o'clock Eastern, and the tip-off is at 9:15. And one other piece of sports news from Indianapolis. The 82nd running of the Indianapolis 500 was won by Eddie Cheever of Tampa, Florida, who started in the 17th position. Buddy Lazier was second. Rookie Steve Knapp finished third. When we return, we'll talk about the first half in Los Angeles between the Jazz and Lakers. But first, a message from Prudential and a word from the NBA.
In volatile markets, it really makes sense to own a stock fund that has some income. Prudential Equity Income Fund gives you good participation in the stock market and enough income to cushion volatility as well. We have a process which involves looking for stocks that are inexpensive, but also where there's some sort of change going on, and that could get the stock moving. The Prudential Equity Income Fund has performed very well over the short and long term. It's a good fund for today's market.
I'm 6'10", 245 pounds. There are probably a lot of kids who wish they were as big as I am, not because they want to play basketball. It's so they can protect themselves from an abusive parent. If you want to get physical with your kids, give them a hug.
At halftime, the Jazz lead the Lakers 47-38. Let's talk about the first half where Greg Ostertag, 2 for 3, 6 points, 5 rebounds. He was a big factor, Matt, last year in their semifinal win against the Lakers. What about his first half today?
Well, Greg Ostertag had to come in early because Greg Foster picked up 2 quick early fouls, and the beat goes on for the Jazz bench. It always seems to be somebody. But Ostertag making his presence felt, being available for the catch and finish inside, and then doing a terrific job on the offensive glass. Shaquille O'Neal not getting a body on this same sequence. Greg Ostertag on a follow again as he just wipes Shaquille O'Neal out of the play. And at the defensive end was a presence inside there challenging and blocking the shot of Shaquille O'Neal. And Greg Ostertag, a big reason why the Lakers were held to 38 points.
Now, John, you've been in the Lakers' shoes. Back in 1991, you were playing for the Pistons. You guys got swept by the Bulls in the Eastern Conference Finals. What is going on right now, halftime in the Lakers' locker room? They're trailing at home.
Truthfully, they're becoming very selfish. Guys are going to say, hey, I'm going to do all I can do because tomorrow if we lose, my line is going to say this. No one's going to be able to come up and say, I didn't play my best. I didn't show up like we're saying here, what they're really not doing. So they're about to become a scattered squad.
You would hope, though, if they're going to go down in smog in L.A., that they go down as a team and not as individuals. But this is the graduate season, and Jerry West and Derek Fisher are the Lakers' men of letters, and they might want to think about start collaborating on a concession speech at halftime.
Ooh, they seem to be pretty good at writing letters, but not at stopping the mailman, huh? Ironic. The Jazz over the Lakers by 9. We'll send you back to Los Angeles for the second half right after these messages from your local station.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential, bringing strength and stability to America's families through insurance, healthcare, real estate, and financial services.
For anyone who's ever called long distance on the company's dime. For anyone who's ever worked with a guy like this. For anyone who's ever endured a company physical. Or had to listen to this woman talk about her cat. Or gone before the boss on one of his bad days. And for anyone who's ever pretended to listen. We bring you Working, just like your job. only funnier. NBC, Wednesdays.
What's wrong? I think we have a flat. Oh, yes, a flat. Don't pull that with me. My dad just bought special tires. You can still drive on them, but it has a hole the size of a quarter. Come on, Todd. You can still drive on it.
Sorry, Todd. If what they say about the run flat tires is true, you can drive on them flat. I'm 12 on your side's Ken Amaro. I'm going to find out Monday on 12 News at 11.
Uh-oh, out of gas, Todd.
Due to popular demand, we've extended the Nissan Free Memorial Day event to Memorial Day and beyond, which means we've extended our $2,000 customer cash or 1.9% APR on the rugged Nissan Frontier regular cab, and our $2,000 customer cash or 1.9% APR on the dependable Nissan Sentra. See your Nissan retailer and spend Memorial Day and beyond in your new Frontier or Sentra with $2,000 in your pocket. The extended Nissan Free Memorial Day event, only through June 1st. With Americans changing how they eat,
What looks good for dinner?
it's no surprise innovators like Publix are changing how they market.
I want some fish.
Or that they brought in a company to help them link 400 stores.
Shipping 50 20-pound crates.
To monitor inventory so you get fresh food.
To be delivered tomorrow.
What may be news is who cooked this data network up. It was Bell South.
I'm looking for some fresh cod.
From big ideas to little dreams, we've got it in the bag.
I'm Dan Hicken. You're watching TLV 12.
Nothing compares to Paris in the springtime. And now, tennis's most grueling Grand Slam is upon us. Pete Sampras, Martina Hingis, Venus Williams, Michael Chang, and more. Join us for the French Open. Coverage begins next Saturday at 3 Eastern on NBC.
Halftime at the Forum. The Lakers led by 4 early, but then thanks to the Utah bench, they built a lead of as many as 11. It's 47-38 here at intermission. And guys, through the first half of Game 4, I don't see much difference. Great bench play, Utah, Shaq, and not much else for the Lakers.
Tom, it has been an exact continuation of the way the rest of the series has gone. And now what you have the problem with the Lakers doing is that they just are not playing with any sort of spark, any sort of energy whatsoever, and that's very disappointing for Los Angeles.
It is, and it's very heartwarming for the Utah Jazz because they feel and they can see in the Lakers' eyes that defeat, and they want to continue to pressure. It is still a winnable game for the Lakers, and Jerry Sloan can't let his team go to sleep.
But it would help if somebody would make a shot out there.
Make a shot, please.
One time.
Let's take a look at our Miller Lite halftime stats. Karl Malone, as usual, doing the job. Leading point getter in the game with 18 as the Jazz shot 51.6% in the first half.
Karl Malone was absolutely marvelous there. A ton of points, a ton of rebounds. More importantly, though, leadership.
And for the Lakers, Shaq with 15 points on 6 of 12 shooting. Overall, the Lakers hitting just 34% of their shots.
I can't believe you're jumping ship and getting away from Shaquille O'Neal. O'Neal had a great start, and he's got to be even stronger in the second half. He's shooting 50%. He's got to bring somebody with him.
I lost my head, Steve. I'm sorry.
Lakers hope to avoid the sweep. They've got a mountain to climb.
The mighty Chrysler.
The 300 idea is the idea of a powerful, responsive, nimble automotive machine.
Introducing the all-new 99 Chrysler 300M, the most powerful sports sedan in its class.
As long as I've worked on this engine, I still get a tingle every time we open the hood.
The Chrysler 300M. The technology has changed, but the soul lives on.
Hey guys, welcome to your world. Ever wonder why it's so full of sweat? Fact is, guys sweat 40% more than women. That's why there's a whole new Speed Stick. Speed Stick Ultimate. It's antibacterial, so it kills the germs that cause odor. In this world, getting rid of sweat and odor is the ultimate goal. New Speed Stick Ultimate. Kills odor, protects guys.
Is it pain? Is it pleasure? returns to NBC June 13th.
We start the third quarter of Game 4 with Utah up 47-38. A couple of moments ago, Jim Gray spoke with Lakers coach Del Harris.
All right, I'm joined by Lakers coach Del Harris. And Del, the tempo hasn't been in the Lakers' favor, and defensively, it seems as though you need to get some guys to step up. What'd you say at halftime here?
Yeah, we've got to try to play Laker ball here. We're letting them intimidate us in our cutting, you know, by grabbing, holding. We're not going head on through and setting good picks, and you know, that's causing 35% shooting. So furthermore, we got to push the ball up the court, get into more our tempo instead of just the walk tempo.
All right, Del, thank you for your time. All right, back out to you, Tom.
One of the key words, I think, there was intimidation.
And that's not a good sign for Los Angeles. With Shaquille O'Neal, you should be the intimidator, not the intimidatee.
Yeah, just last week he was saying they should change his name from Shaquille to Dominator, and he hasn't been a dominant force, and certainly the Lakers have had all kinds of problems as Derek Fisher got nailed on a screen.
And Hornacek missed a wide-open look too hard off the glass.
The hardest thing, though, to get back for a team is their spirit. A quick 20-second timeout here.
Del Harris is saying, hey, you see my guy just get peeled down there. I mean, somebody smacked him good.
That was a great screen by Karl Malone.
Well, John Stockton and Karl Malone hoping to return to the finals where they gave Chicago a scare before falling last season. They have the most playoff games without a title, 141 for Stockton the most, and 131 for Karl. Of course, if they do return to the finals, there'll be a slight difference. This time they'll have home court advantage.
The only guy that's applauding that is Elgin Baylor. You know how long he's been sitting there as the #1 guy, and now somebody has gone by him. So he knows what it's like to work and languish without a title, and Stockton and Malone don't want to stay in that same category.
Well, the toughest part of it for Elgin was that the championship finally came just after he hurt his knee so terribly that he could never come back and play again. That brilliant style that he had.
Fisher with a penetration and the pull-up up against the shot clock. It won't go. And rebounded by Utah.
All the loose balls continue to go Utah's way.
I think the Lakers just can't get into panic thinking. A 9-point lead is not insurmountable. So they just got to stay in there and play basketball and do all of the things necessary to get a win.
Malone short on the follow-away. Ori gives it up to Fisher.
But to win, Steve, the Lakers have to... Oh, what a great lob.
Nicely done. Shaq from Fox.
That's a good way to win. Throw that play again. I would call that play number 1. And until they stop that play, I wouldn't call any other.
Malone on the low block against Ori. Gave it to Hornacek.
And the Jazz don't want to stand around, but they get a bust out for Hornacek. Foster picks up the loose ball and lays it back in.
Shaq blocked it, but Foster beat everybody else to the ball.
The Lakers just standing around watching Shaq's brilliance. When a guy goes for a block, you've got to be on the move, anticipating it's going to be made, and turn it into a fast break layup.
Entry pass to Shaq. No basket, foul on the floor by Foster.
Hornacek is hot. He felt he got hammered there. Hornacek wide open down the lane. He just gets hit right across the wrist there. No call. Everybody's just standing. Turning the corner, and again, Ori, Shaq, underneath the basket defensively. That will not get it done.
Well, one thing that the Lakers are flirting with when they put Shaq in that position is a fourth personal foul. They got to keep the guy out on the floor.
Shaq again against Foster. Turns on him, misses the shot. Malone tapped it to himself. He has 10 rebounds.
And he's rebounding today as well as I've ever seen on the defensive end. Oh, what change of pace, change of direction by Stockton.
But Ori rejects it. And that's the help that the Lakers have been looking for. It was a terrific change of pace by Stockton and a better play. And then they sneak one off the inbound.
And it's a Laker foul.
It's amazing when you watch John Stockton year after year, how he just has not lost anything in terms of quickness, in terms of the instincts, in complete control at 36 years of age, barely 5'10", as a point guard.
Oh, he's lost something.
And he and Fisher get locked up. Fisher committed his second foul a moment ago. That one will go to Stockton for the hook.
What has he lost?
He's lost some quickness. He's lost some foot speed. He's gotten more smart, but he has lost a whole lot.
Here's my glasses, Steve. the Jazz are up 3-0. He's playing better than ever. Not as long.
Playing fewer minutes than Isley has done yeoman work in replacing him at the point. And here's double foul. Double foul called.
Stockton and Fisher.
They've been locked up several times in this game. And
the difference is Isley's played great today. So if John Stockton has to get in foul trouble, they got somebody that's playing with a lot of confidence. They're going to get an offensive foul this way. This one against Robert Horry.
And for Horry, that's number 2, as the Lakers can't stand prosperity.
Well, the game is disintegrating into a series of paybacks, fouls, where all the players have to keep their collective heads.
Stockton driving baseline. Hornacek, beautifully done. Hornacek from Stockton.
That is just terrific basketball. They know Stockton's not going to try to score that ball inside. They just keep moving. Gets it in perfect rhythm for Hornacek.
Shaquille works himself free for the layup. Shaq has 19.
Trying to trap the ball, get it out of Stockton's hands early, and make someone else beat them. But all these other guys are playing with such confidence right now. They don't mind seeing John Stockton not have the basketball. Pick and roll.
Pick and stay in this case, but Stockton gave it up to Hornacek, and he misses it. Rebounded by Horry. Quick out of the Shaq, who runs the floor. Shaq to Fox for 3.
Shaq just doing it all, realizing that nobody else is passing on the fast break. He might as well become the next Magic Johnson.
And the Lakers within 6. Lakers have hit 5 of 10 from the arc. Robert Horry called for his 3rd foul.
Normally you don't like to outlet the ball to a 7'2", 325-pound man running the lane. But Shaq just handled it beautifully, smoothly, getting the 3.
Jones blocking Stockton's shot. It'll be Jazz ball with 19 to shoot.
Stockton, a few words for Joey Crawford on that one. Went down the lane. Eddie Jones rided him all the way before he got the block. 19 on the shot clock for the Jazz.
And this is what so many teams try to do against John Stockton. Come with the off guard. Here, Eddie Jones for the Lakers with more size, more strength, more length to try to deny John Stockton.
Skip pass to Russell. Challenge Shaq. If it's on Shaquille, it'll be his 4th. It could be on Fox, however. Let's see.
That has to be on Shaquille.
It is on Shaq, and that is number 4.
That is the problem that they've had. They are allowing the guy to beat him off the dribble. Who's the last line of defense? Shot the ball. He got to it first, then continued on, got piece of the arm and the body.
Steve, let's go back to Friday night, game 3. Brian Russell, late in the game, 2 huge drives right down the basket, knowing he was going to get his head taken off. Shaq has to go to the bench now. Del Harris protecting him with fouls. But when I saw Brian Russell willing to put his life and health, career on the line, I knew that this Jazz team was ready to take the next step toward that championship.
You think it was life and health? It was that dangerous?
If you drive in like that on Shaq, your life is in your own hands.
Fox for 3, air ball.
Just missed.
Well, Fox looks like he thinks he got hit, but that was a real ratty-looking shot from Rick Fox.
Technical foul on Del Harris.
Dell doing that country appeal. And my man gets hit and you call a technical on me. Is that right? That's how this works?
We may have to log on to the website to see just what he said.
DelHarris.com. He's been getting quite a few suggestions.
All good ones, I bet.
Absolutely.
Jeff Hornacek, deadly at the free throw line, sinks the technical.
Adele's in a very tough situation because a terrific coach, a great teacher, but the team has not responded.
Improved their record all 4 years as their head coach, but what happens if the Lakers are swept today to Del Harris?
Well, he'll be under an incredible amount of criticism, but hey, this has been the players not getting the job done as they have been beaten soundly in every category.
You always say that, but guess who's responsible? The coach. The coach always takes the heat. As O'Neal sits and looks and watches.
That doesn't make it right.
Well, we never said the world was right.
Malone from long range. Just rimmed out. Fox to Jones.
Great hands
by Hornacek. Here's Malone facing on Campbell. He's over it. Rimmed off to Ori.
Now the Lakers are getting rebounds with a chance to run, and they've got to want it more than the Utah Jazz. They can't meander up the floor any longer. They've got to really come with some reckless abandon.
Jones an open three. Rebounded by Campbell.
How is that not a push-off foul against Eldon Campbell?
Fox misses a three, and this time Malone makes sure that's 11 rebounds.
Well, there is such a thing as a high percentage shot. The Lakers are not taking it, and that's why their percentage is down, and they're down 9 on the scoreboard. 2 3-point attempts when you can get inside that line and get something cheap.
Derek Fisher called for the foul as he tried to body Stockton, and Derek has 4.
John Stockton just absolutely relentless trying to establish that screening position.
You're watching the NBA on NBC.
Go to the playoffs, NBA.com.
Every player has a weakness. Tonight, Mr. Grant Hill's weakness takes center court.
There's only one place to go for the irresistible taste of America's favorite fries. Did somebody say McDonald's? Enjoy the fries that have earned the right to be called America's favorite fries.
It is grounded in the belief that for ideas to take flight, they must have wings. The all-new Chrysler Concorde LXI, with a 225 horsepower engine so advanced, it provides more power yet uses less fuel. Chrysler Concorde, built on the belief that great cars appeal to a more passionate side. Chrysler, engineered to be great cars. Lease an all-new Chrysler Concorde LX for just $309 a month.
Hey, Sparkman, how about some more ice sauce? Sure. Button hook.
Hello from Plank Road, where Sparky has found his big self in a little bit of a dilemma.
Do it, Sparky, do it. What about your friend, Sparky? I'm your friend, Sparky. Share with me. Be strong, Sparky, be strong.
Tough one even for me, Spark. After all, Ice House is ice brewed, so there's never any watered-down taste, just more of what you want in a beer. Thanks, and enjoy.
How you like me now, Cream Puff?
Miller Genuine Draft presents even more basketball.
The most difficult thing that the Los Angeles Lakers have been having is playing team basketball. They have had a dominating effort from Shaquille O'Neal in the middle.
But Steve, the Utah Jazz game plan is to let Shaq shoot. Not as quite as easily as that. But don't let the other guys get home. And Shaquille, when he's caught the ball outside of the paint, has been relatively ineffective. Inside the paint, he has just been devastating, picking up tons of fouls on the Utah post defenders.
And in recognition of this look inside the game, Miller Brewing Company will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund.
And our congratulations to Shaquille for being named first-team All-NBA center for the first time in his brilliant 6-year career. The other winners during that span were always Akeem Olajuwon and David Robinson going back and forth with #1 center.
Kobe Bryant on the floor for the Lakers as Russell goes right by Kobe and lays it in. Welcome back, Kobe.
Well, it's time for the small lineup for the Los Angeles Lakers to get into the game. Van Exel, Jones, and Bryant are all out there. They're going to have to carry the scoring with O'Neal on the bench.
Van Exel to Campbell, who misses the jam. Malone with a board. Despite Karl Malone not scoring in this quarter, the Jazz have just had a chance. They will at the free throw line to take their biggest lead of the game.
He hasn't scored this entire quarter?
The quarter.
It's shocking, isn't it?
Well, they're killing the Lakers. They're up by 11, and they were in total control, and Karl is only being the defensive rebounder and igniting the fast break.
But remember in Game 3, Karl Malone, John Stockton were both on the bench when they built the lead against Shaquille O'Neal, who was out on the floor. O'Neal on the bench right now.
Ostertag has 6 points. Misses the first free throw. And tomorrow, an NBA Memorial Day special beginning at 3 p.m. Eastern with NBA Showtime. Then Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals as Reggie Miller, who hit the big shots yesterday, takes on Michael and the Bulls. And if necessary, on Tuesday, this series will continue in prime time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. As of now, it doesn't look very likely.
Well, we certainly hope that Reggie Miller's ankle is going to be fine. Hate to see series affected like that.
Kobe Bryant given a wide open look at a 3, or up to 2. Had his foot on the line, I guess. Had a toe on the line.
Finally, some good ball movement, some effective perimeter shooting. We talked about the rebounding. Carl has 12 rebounds. Shaq only has 3 today. All of them in the first 5 minutes of the game.
Bryant rebounds the Ostertag miss. Lakers want to pump up the tempo if they can. Just over 5 minutes left in the third. They trail by 10.
They got to get that attitude that they can't be stopped on the offensive end. A big effort by Eldon Campbell. That's the best move that he has made. He has yet to score a field goal, but gets the foul against Ostertag.
Number 2 on Ostertag.
Del Harris was telling us yesterday about the frustrations of coaching Eldon Campbell. And how do you put this guy into the rotation? They've tried him so many different ways to fit in with Shaq, but really, he only becomes an effective player when Shaq is not in the game.
Playoff scoring by Eldon at an all-time low. And Adele telling us he plays much better as a 5, as a center, than he does at a power forward spot, with or without Shaq.
And so it makes it very difficult for Del Harris. You know, with Robert Horry not playing brilliant basketball this series, but with the alternatives being Eldon Campbell, Corey Blunt, and Mario Bennett, that's not a choice that Del Harris is willing to make.
Isley penetrates, finds the open man, Russell. Long range 2, Brian Russell with 8 points.
Russell's come alive here in the quarter, 6 in the quarter, the leading scorer in the quarter for the Utah Jazz, but it's that same kind of inefficiency defending the pick and roll that's got the Lakers in trouble. Campbell trying to force it.
Did force it. Ostertag blocked it. Eddie Jones double pumps and draws the foul.
This has been Brian Russell's quarter, though, Steve. And here's a guy who moved to San Bernardino, a suburb of Los Angeles, when he was 10 years old, went to neighboring Long Beach State here, was the center on that team, played the middle of a 2-3 zone, and now has just developed into an outstanding small forward.
That foul was the second on Karl Malone.
Eddie Jones. When the team wins, Eddie Jones is just absolutely spectacular. Probably because of him being spectacular, they're winning. But when they lose, the numbers just are not there.
He has 11 today.
Nice pass, Carl.
Ostertag made the fake. Kobe bit on it, and Ostertag from Malone with now 9 points.
What they have done against the Laker trap is center the ball very quickly. The defense doesn't react quick enough. You've got people standing right at the basket like Ostertag for an easy 2.
That type of play, though, it just doesn't work anymore against Utah.
Van Exel to Campbell, nicely done. Van Exel penetrated, drew the defense, and found Campbell for the jam.
You always say you don't want an opponent to hang around. That's what the Lakers are doing right now, trying to make a little surge with 3:39 to go. But back to Russell against Bryant.
Blocked. And the crowd gets fired up over that.
Eldon Campbell's out of the play. His shoe is untied in the backcourt. Isley takes a foul.
Now, Kobe Bryant has been... he's been posterized a few times with some post moves, but this one is going to be sent back. A real good reaction against a pretty lively Brian Russell. O'Neal coming back in the game. Huge gamble here by Del Harris, but I think Del Harris thinks if I'm going to make a push, it's right now.
And he's got a little momentum now, and I think he wants to capitalize on it. The Lakers within 8, just over 3 minutes left in the third.
Gamble, the house is about to fall off the cliff.
Van Exel, the Shaq.
The mudslides are coming, Steve. This is not a gamble.
It is, because if O'Neal picks up another foul, the slides have hit.
Well, what are the Lakers going to try to win this series in 9 games, or what?
I think that was your prediction.
Malone with his first basket of the quarter from Isley.
But the one thing the Jazz have been able to do, keep this crowd out of this ball game. Look at that, dominating the paint. And that area belongs to the Utah Jazz and not Shaquille O'Neal.
Pick and roll of Van Exel and O'Neal, and Isley knocks Van Exel down. Howard Isley picks up his 4th foul.
Karl Malone has just been everywhere. Setting the screen and then the roll. The Lakers just cannot deal with any of the Jazz offensive executions. Karl Malone just too good.
Adopted at birth by a corporation and raised on live television without ever knowing.
How are you, Truman? Vital signs are good.
Yeah, my ring cam.
Is he looking at us?
Think he knows? But the only thing they couldn't control
Onto something, Marlon. Something big.
is what he'd do if he found out.
Find him. Gonna do it again?
Jim Carrey, The Truman Show, rated PG. In theaters everywhere, Friday, June 5th.
Let's say Spider-Man is like Castrol Syntec motor oil. And this is a harmful particle in your engine. Get the point? You see, Syntec's patented stabilizers seek out and neutralize harmful particles, protecting in ways other oils can't. Castrol Syntec, the active lubricant.
It is 180 degrees from expected. It is a leather-trimmed interior. And now, it ties as J.D. Power and Associates' most appealing minivan. The new Chrysler Town & Country LXI, winner of the Automobile Magazine All-Star Award. Select customers save a total of $2,000 on Town & Country. Chrysler, engineered to be great cars.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Miller Lite, who reminds you that a Miller time can be anything you want as long as it feels good. By Chrysler, engineered to be great cars. And by Castrol Syntec, the active lubricant.
Game 4 of this Western Conference showdown has come down to the game's most dominant figures. Shaq is doing his part to keep the Lakers alive, but he continues to scream for help. He knows that on the other side, Karl Malone is not about to let up. 18 first-half points ignited the Jazz. His outward emotion offers the Lakers no hope. Time is running out. It's do or die for L.A. 2:28 left, third quarter. The Jazz up 10 on the Lakers.
It would do the Lakers a ton of good to see this lead at the end of the quarter down to the 4 to 6 point range. They would know that they're making some progress. This unit that's out on the floor being cohesive. They haven't had that. Del Harris has had that same frustrated look and conversation with the officials the entire ballgame.
Would help to make a free throw.
A continuing Laker problem, you're right. They are 11 of 16, where the Jazz are 16 of 18.
But you're abandoning your theory that it's not how many you say?
You got to make some.
Now he says. Pick and roll, Malone, no shot, skip pass, wide open, Hornacek for three, won't go down, Shaq clears.
But see, even then, when you get a great rebound by Shaq off a corner baseline jumper by the Jazz, they still can't get a fast break, and they turn it over once again, the Lakers.
Van Exel lost it and stands under the basket, doesn't even get back on defense as Malone puts it through.
That's how you fast break, when guards get caught underneath the basket, and they use it out to the races.
No, Van Exel made no effort, stood under the basket.
Now you have to wonder about the team chemistry for the Lakers.
Oh, their team heart. The sweep is about to happen unless suddenly the Lakers can pick up their emotion, their desire, their intensity. Kobe Bryant at the free throw line.
You know, a year ago, they were in a similar situation, and everyone remembers the one thing about Kobe Bryant, was he shot the air ball. But it was Kobe Bryant that brought them back into the ball game.
Next Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern, NBC begins coverage of the French Open from Roland Garros in Paris. Pete Sampras, Michael Chang, Martina Hingis, Venus Williams, and more battle it out on the clay. The French Open next Saturday on NBC.
Last year in Game 4 of this series between these two teams, Karl Malone played the greatest game that I've ever seen him play personally. Today, he's playing phenomenal, but a different type of game.
Eldon Campbell picks off the pass on the pick and roll. Good defense. Van Exel lost it. He was fouled. So Del Harris trying everything, including Campbell and Shaq on the floor at the same time here.
Eldon Campbell actually has been better for them in the last two pick and roll situations than Robert Horry or Rick Fox had been. He's been out there. He's made them make some adjustments. And Del Harris smiling because Van Exel gets to the free throw line.
But see, the problem with going with the big lineup of Eldon and Shaq at the same time is that they get no fast break opportunity. This lineup is not going to be able to run.
Their job is to get the rebound. They got rabbits. They got Eddie Jones. They got Van Exel. They got Bryant. Those guys should be the sprint guys.
They got rabbits, but the Jazz got the wolves.
You need 4 guys running to make a fast break happen.
Approaching the final minute of the third.
Eldon Campbell with a silly foul against Jeff Hornacek, trying to set a good solid screen.
Third on Eldon.
We got a double team.
Double team. Hornacek and Campbell.
Joey Crawford saying, look, that nudging and bumping that you're doing, we're trying to keep you guys from provoking something, and you want to keep it going. So he hammered them both with tees, but Hornacek gets a shooter.
Hornacek has not missed a free throw in this series. The Utah guards are just relentless in terms of coming in there and setting those good legal position screens. And the big guys don't like that. They throw them out of the way and then charge incorrectly that the Utah Jazz set dirty, illegal screens.
5 for 5 at the line in today's game for Hornacek. Still perfect. Kobe lost it. Look at Russell run the floor, but the Laker defense was back that time.
The trailer on the break, a real trademark ever since the days of the great Thurl Bailey for the Utah Jazz.
Malone shoots over Campbell. No good. 2 Lakers. Van Exel and Bryant lost it. Jazz get it back.
Tom, I love it when teams get an offensive rebound and bring it back out and reset. The Chicago Bulls yesterday were great at that. Too many times guys get that offensive rebound. I think they're almost forced to stick it right back up there.
Skip pass to Russell. 2 to shoot. He got it off. Hit the top of the board. That'll be a 24-second violation. Didn't draw iron.
Brian Russell, who's got about 20 to 25 family members here in attendance today. He was dealing with the ticket brokers just prior to the game, trying to improve the quality of those seats. Jerry Sloan says, how about
Did you do him any good? You do him any good?
No, he was in the dealing with the ticket brokers. He's got about 30 family members here. Van Exel.
Intimidated on the shot, missed it badly. Russell fumbles it out of bounds as the third quarter ends. The Utah Jazz are getting out the broom despite the fact that Stockton played without any points. Karl Malone has 22. We played 3 quarters. The Lakers on the verge of elimination, down by 10. We'll be back to the forum after these messages and a word from your local station. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
A champion's pedigree. We are a company built on engineering mastery. 300 gives us an all-out engineering car. It has put real fire and spirit into the whole job we do.
Introducing the all-new 99 Chrysler 300M Sport Sedan.
It's unique, and it's exciting, and it's a basic automotive experience.
The most horsepower, the most torque, and the widest stance in its class. The Chrysler 300M. The technology has changed, but the soul lives on.
courtyard ice, but beware the Penguins.
Does everyone like basketball? Everybody
You want to do something to help your community?
we're going to do some fundamental work,
You just got to get off the bench
and we're going to do some drills.
and volunteer.
Come on, good job.
Anyone can get involved. It's worth it.
Hey, the most important thing today is we're going to have fun.
Team up to improve your community.
Join us for America's most watched news magazine.
Dateline on NBC.
Just announced. This Memorial Day weekend, lease a 1998 Toyota Camry with no money down and no security deposit. That's right. You can get in a new Camry for absolutely nothing down. We'll even take care of your first month's payment. All you need is a pen. You just sign and drive. And this $239 a month Camry lease is yours for 36 months. No money down, no security deposit. Total due at signing, 0. Just sign and drive.
Every day, more people are choosing Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse.
And here's why. Only Lowe's has the appliance advantage.
With more appliances in stock than most anyone.
All from America's best brands, GE, Maytag, Whirlpool, and Frigidaire.
Take it with you or we'll deliver it the next day.
Even on Sundays. And our #1 advantage, you won't find a smaller price anyplace else. Guaranteed.
When it comes to home improvement,
Lowe's knows.
I'm Jeff Prosser. You're watching TLV 12.
This copyrighted telecast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the NBA.
With producer Kevin Smolin, director John Gonzalez, Tom Hammond, Bill Walton, Steve Jones, Jim Gray starting the fourth quarter. Game 4, Western Conference Finals. The Utah Jazz looking for the sweep and leading the Lakers by 10.
Crowd on their feet. They got one of the Jazz fans kicked out of here. The Lakers, they have been smoked when they've been down 0-3.
3 times they have been in this situation, and all 3 times they have been swept. Oddly enough, the team that defeated them went on to win the NBA championship all 3 times.
A good adjustment by O'Neal after the Ostertag defense, but just a little bit too hard.
LA had just 1 field goal in the last 5 minutes, 20 seconds. And only 5 baskets in the entire third quarter. They're lucky to trail by just 10, Steve.
Chris Morris for 3. And like a predator, like a shark smelling of blood in the water, the Jazz are trying to put the knockout punch on the Lakers.
The Jazz have got phenomenal play out of Chris Morris, out of Shandon Anderson, out of Brian Russell. When the 3-man, the small forward plays well for Utah, they are tough to stop.
Jones can't answer, but Sack off the offensive board, jams it home.
Again, with as much time left in the ballgame, and it's just under 11 minutes to play, where the Lakers have to pick it up is in a belief that they can change something out on the floor. And it's been collisions that have gone in favor of the Utah Jazz. You see, after every foul call, the Lakers' heads drop. That's not good body language. Malone out, Antoine Carr in.
You talked about
Blunt committing the foul.
Tom, you talked about the 0-3 situation. Only 2 times in NBA history has a team that's been down 3-0 been able to battle back and make it all the way to 7 games.
And of course, as everyone knows, no team has ever won after trailing.
But it happened in '94 with this Utah Jazz team when they let Denver come all the way back and forth to 7 games, and then way back in the infancy of the league in 1951 between New York and Rochester in the NBA Finals.
Eddie Jones to the rim for the Jazz. Do the Lakers have one final push?
One of the great things about this Utah Jazz team, Tom, is the way they've learned to respond to the huge performances of the other team.
Ostertag with a follow, the Morris miss.
Shaq in transition.
23 for Shaq, the game's top scorer.
Finally, the Laker offense has come alive. They certainly have waited long enough.
They slumbered through 3 quarters and 3.5 games, for that matter.
Great screen by Ostertag.
And Morris with a reverse from Ostertag.
Every time, and it's been that way in Game 3 today. Every time they make a little run, there's a Morris, there's an Oster tag to answer the call, and the Utah Jazz, they continue to lead.
Can Larry Bird's Pacers even their series with Michael and the Bulls? The answer, Monday.
Happy birthday.
Oh, good. Another apple. Where's Danny?
Oh, you get down by the way I use my watch. Got my woman's face. No time to talk. Staying alive. Staying alive. Staying alive.
Thank you.
Personal space. Seems like it's getting harder and harder to come by. But when you travel on United Airlines, it's actually getting easier, with more spacious, wide-body planes than any other airline. It's one more way United is rising.
Ship your package in 2 days with FedEx. And you'll run into 7 different price zones.
Ship your package in 2 days with UPS. And you'll run into 7 different price zones.
Ship your package in 2 to 3 days with Priority Mail. And there's just one price zone.
So, what's your priority? Priority Mail from the U.S. Postal Service.
Every once in a while, something really good happens when you least expect it.
Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Now, many features you'd expect to pay extra for, like air conditioning and power windows, come standard on the new Corolla LE. Value is back. And right now, you can get 4.8% APR financing for 48 months. It's your lucky day.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, this is the taste. By Toyota, every day belongs to you. Make it count. Toyota every day. And by Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Shaquille O'Neal knows the pain of being swept out of the playoffs. 1995 NBA Finals while still playing for the Orlando Magic. Shaq and his teammates lost 4 straight at the hands of the Houston Rockets and his current teammate, Robert Horry. Shaq swept in the finals and in danger of being swept here today in the Western Conference Finals.
Tom, I was talking to Shaq in the locker room about that today, and he was saying that Michael Jordan a couple years ago after the Bulls swept the Magic said, Shaq, you're going to have to experience a lot of failure, a lot of frustration along the way before you finally get that ultimate prize. And unless the Lakers turn it around real quickly, it's going to be a very long and unpleasant summer for Shaquille O'Neal.
Lakers have 9 minutes, 28 seconds to make up an 11-point deficit. Let's go to Jim Gray.
Well, you think Jerry Sloan might be pretty happy at this point. He laced into him pretty good. He said, hey, guys, the idea isn't to stop Shaquille O'Neal as we look at Nick Van Exel hit a 3. Not to stop Shaquille O'Neal, but the object is to try and slow him down. You're just giving him too many easy points in the paint. Slow him down. He's also unhappy with the transition defense. Tom?
All right, Jim, Van Exel with that key 3. You see the leading scorers. And a steal. It's Van Exel. Gives it up to Eddie Jones. Nice play. Nick Van Exel hits the 3 and then assists to Jones for the jam.
And the Lakers, after having been outplayed in every aspect of the game throughout the entire series, finally on the brink, ready to fall off the cliff, they finally come alive.
Van Exel makes it happen, hits the 3, then the steal and the assist, and suddenly the Lakers within a half dozen. The tallest mountain in North America is 20,320 feet. Cool.
in Bulgaria than anyone. He's world famous in most non-English speaking countries. He's Yablo, and Windy Creek is proud to present his ocarina renditions of timeless romance classics. You'll cherish these much-loved melodies.
Hey, trust your own taste, not what somebody else tells you is popular. You can get a certificate for a free CD from an artist you choose if you win the Sprite Under the Cap game.
Ever heard of drive-in claim service? Well, who's your insurance company?
Some of golf's best have never etched their names on this symbol of golfing excellence. This select group of stars has amassed 13 major championships, but none has been able to realize the glory associated with winning golf's greatest championship, the U.S. Open, beginning June 18th on NBC.
Tomorrow, Memorial Day, Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Michael and the Bulls against Reggie and the Pacers. The Bulls jumped out to that quick 2-0 series lead, but yesterday the Pacers and Reggie came up big. Will Michael and the Bulls bounce back, or will the Pacers even the series? The NBA on NBC, Chicago, Indiana tomorrow starts at 3 o'clock Eastern Time with NBA Showtime. There's the schedule. On Wednesday, they'll move back to Chicago Friday and Sunday if necessary.
Now, Jerry Sloan is going for the closer. Karl Malone has come back in the ball game, as well as Isley has played. John Stockton is back in the ball game. Camden Anderson, Antoine Carr, and Chris Moore. So the Lakers put on a little bit of a run, and Jerry Sloan said, I'm going to put the big guys in and see if we can't kill them.
It's an 11-4 run since Chris Morris hit that three-pointer to give the Jazz a 13-point lead.
What the Lakers can't do is put the Utah Jazz in a situation where they're going to score some cheap points with the lead. They're going to call Van Exel for the hand check outside.
Malone against Blunt. Stockton penetrates, floats one up, no good, tapped in by, I think, Chris Morris. Or was it Isley?
Stockton just got a good bounce.
All right.
Tom, what the Utah Jazz have improved more than anything else from last year's loss to the Chicago Bulls was how they respond to the big push by the greatness of the other team. Last year, when Jordan was putting on his show, they just didn't know how to react. This year, the other team with Shaq coming up big, the Jazz keep playing their game.
Shaq line drive off the glass. He has 25. He's the game's leading scorer. And once again, the lead is 6.
Coming to Shannon Anderson, who really posts well against Eddie Jones and Kobe Bryant. They're trying to find him deep. They go to Karl Malone, they get a foul.
Corey Blunt commits the foul.
What a terrific pass by Shandon Anderson. They just know how Karl is going to position himself. Shandon Anderson now playing instead of Jeff Hornacek.
But, you know, this crowd, it waited in Game 3. The Lakers got them close to 1-2 points, but never got over the top. They're urging them on right now, and they've never been able to get closer than 6. Malone gets the first free throw.
He has 23 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 assists.
And the Utah Jazz, the best shooting team at the free throw line in the NBA playoffs. On the road, need to virtually make all of these down the stretch to hold off this charging Laker team.
Malone has hit 10 of 11 at the free throw line. 8-point lead.
He and Shaquille O'Neal lead in attempts, and they're both double-digit guys. Malone has gotten his number. He's 10-5, and O'Neal is better than that as they go inside to Shaquille.
91% free throw shooting will win you a lot of games. Eddie Jones.
Great defense by Karl Malone, and an even better finish by Eddie.
Eddie Jones with the acrobatic shot again cuts the lead to 6. Lakers determined to make a final run at the Utah Jazz. And the X factor, Eddie Jones, trying to pull the Lakers back with help from Shaq, who's 3 for 3 in the quarter. Shaq pokes it away from Anderson. Scramble. Lakers have it. Van Exel with a seam. Can't finish. Chris Morris with the outlet to Stockton, who's fouled by Jones.
Now, Steve, earlier you were telling me that Stockton had lost his quickness, had lost his instincts. The guy was the quickest guy to the ball right there. Eddie Jones, though, a moment before, just right down the lane. You see Carl smothering him. That was George Gervin as well. We've seen George to open the game. We've seen him to close the game.
You're gonna revive the Iceman?
Well, after shooting only 33% from the floor in the third quarter, the Lakers are 7 of 10 in the fourth. They need a stop. Malone.
Well, there's a guy that's going to be the heartbreaker for them. Every time they get close, they've gone to Karl Malone. 4 in the quarter.
26 in the game. Laker timeout.
It's that response again by Utah. Every single time the Lakers make that push, somebody, Stockton, Malone, they're coming through.
We're going down the straightaway. Who's going to lift first?
I mean, I'm just not one to give up.
There's a macabre side to this. Who's going to lift first?
Every time you hit, you just pray that you're going to stay conscious. You're working your feet, you're working your hands, your arms.
My heroes have been the race drivers.
Your head, you're pulling a lot of G's.
You dig down and find a way to do it.
The powdered sugar on this donut puts a semi-protective barrier between your fingerprint and your nutrition. But even if some grease does get on that donut, that's just flavor to a High Life man.
Leisure suits, go-go boots, feathered hat, fat cat, hippie chick, Patrick Kirk, disco fever, Gucci shirt, shark skin slacks, gun in sack, patent leather, boa feathers, hip, monkey toe, juggers, brown shoe, red maroons, on the man, lingerie, saddle shoes.
At the Attic Vintage Clothing Store in Las Vegas, the only thing that's out of style is using American Express. So bring your Visa card. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
It's a fast-paced world for small business today. To stay on top, you need to react to change with lightning speed. That's why we're introducing Kinko's Express, the new 24-hour self-service area that lets you get things done fast. Kinko's Express, the new way to office.
What a game! Yesterday in Indy, the fourth quarter was Miller time. Reggie Miller, hobbling with a sprained ankle, came up big as the Pacers squeaked out the win to cut Chicago's series lead in half. Now Larry Bird's team can even it up. But Michael and the Bulls have other ideas. A holiday special Monday at 3 Eastern on NBC.
Utah leading by 8. They seem to have an answer for every Laker run, and the Lakers have applied some pressure here in the fourth quarter.
Well, the Los Angeles Lakers and the Lake Show have tried to figure out one thing. When's the best time to be ahead? At the end of the game, and they're trying to come with a big finish, and they've gotten more people involved here in the fourth quarter of play and found at least some sort of offensive rhythm, which has picked up their defense, but they still got a hill to climb.
Well, the energy level, the creativity seems a lot better. Will it be enough?
O'Neal with 25 points as we check in with Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. I'm now joined by Magic Johnson. Of course, his number has been retired here. Magic is a part owner. Magic, should this score hold up, and we realize there's a lot of time here, what changes are going to have to be made with the Lakers?
Well, the main thing is that we need a leader. Right now, we have no leader. We need somebody to fire this team up because this is the only game in this 4-game series that we actually played with some emotion and really played with some fire. And it can't be Shaquille. We need somebody that handles the ball a lot. Has to be a leader on this team.
When you say leader, would that indicate that Del Harrison, his position would be under review?
Well, that may be. I don't know what Dr. Buss or Jerry West is thinking, but what bothered me about this series is that we played 4 games the same way. We haven't made the adjustments like we should have. And then, we haven't played with any passion. I don't mind if we lose, but it's the way we've been losing that bothers me.
You mentioned Jerry West. He has a very difficult decision. I know you want him to stay. Many of the players want him to stay. What do you think ultimately will be his decision?
Well, I don't know. I think he's leaning more toward not coming back than staying, but I don't know what's going to happen. Jerry West's going to have to, explain it to everybody after the season. I hope he stays. The players, the fans, everybody hopes he stays. But tell Bill Walton and your boy over there, Steve, to give up some of that money and give it to him. Maybe he'll stay.
It does seem to be a money issue, guys. There'll be much more on the Jerry West. Magic, thank you. Tom?
All right, Jim, I can't even get them to pick up a dinner check. You kids give up some of them. They won't cut loose for that cash.
This has to be so frustrating for Magic Johnson, who was the king of the big games, who was the king of emotional leadership, who was the king of taking charge out there. And to see the Lakers playing so flat and lifeless and unemotional throughout the vast majority of this series, just terribly disappointing.
Eddie Jones sliding out of bounds. Shaq is 4 for 4 in the quarter. Why don't they give it to him?
Well, they tried a couple of times. The Lakers took the passing angle away from them. They took too much time to try to get the ball in. They were too obvious in where they wanted to go. So they got to move the ball, move people a lot quicker. They're still within 6.
First turnover of the quarter committed by the Lakers. They've got Stockton double-teamed in the corner. Pitches it out to Hornacek.
But the double teams don't bother John Stockton.
Antoine Carr, back rim to Malone with an offensive board.
Now they'll make the Lakers play a full 24 seconds, get them even more tired, even more frustrated.
14 rebounds for Karl Malone. He's been everywhere. Pick and roll. Malone will shoot 2. Corey Blunt with a foul.
Crowd wanted to travel on Karl Malone, but again, it's been the inability to decide what to do with the pick and roll. They get him out of there. Yeah, he sprinted out of the blocks real fast. Almost came out of those bad socks and shoes, but he's going to get the free throws.
Well, the Jazz are really trying to get Karl to go to that hoop more, and he's been finishing magnificently with that left hand. Now he'll be at the foul line. But that play was a perfect example of the partnership on this team.
An NBA Memorial Day special tomorrow starts at 3 p.m. Eastern with NBA Showtime. Dennis Rodman will be featured in Showtime. Then Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Reggie against Michael. The Pacers breaking through with a victory, trailing 2-1 after yesterday's victory at Market Square Arena. Game 4 coming up tomorrow, preceded by Showtime with that Dennis Rodman feature. I think Bob Costas, who in the past has been very critical of Dennis Rodman, will be interviewing Dennis. That'll be Showtime, 3 p.m. Eastern, to kick off our NBA playoffs coverage on Memorial Day.
I think they're soulmates, Dennis and Bob.
There are a lot of similarities now that you mention it. In fact, I don't know if I've ever seen them together before. Eddie Jones with his 19th point.
Well, the number for the Lakers and Eddie Jones is 20. If he gets 20, they win. So we'll find out whether his number holds up here in the fourth quarter.
Karl Malone has scored the last 6 Jazz points. He has 28.
Terrific pass.
Russell. Rebounded by Jones. Stripped away, Laker ball.
It was Brian Russell's three-pointer at the end of Game 3 Friday night that iced it for Utah. They were looking for that dagger once more.
Rick Fox in the ball game. Kobe Bryant down.
The Lakers, this is the 8th time they've cut the lead to only 6, but they've never been able to get over the hump.
Now here's your man Shaq with the ball. Let's see if he can deliver the goods. His car is all over it.
Shaq under pressure, can't get it down, but will shoot free throws.
Now you know why they groan every time? Because they'd rather see the field goal, because this is your theory coming up. How many do you have to take, Shaq, before you make some?
Oh, now you're starting to blame Shaq for the Lakers not playing well.
No, I'm not blaming him, but, you know, the idea is at the end of the game, put him on the line.
He's 3 of 7.
He just missed that one.
Yeah, he's going down, too.
Lakers clearly going without Robert Horry down the stretch. Maybe that hip is just too sore for Robert to be a factor here.
Lakers finally get it under 6, but they're running out of time. Under 3.5 on the clock.
Well, there's a ton of time with a 5-point ball game, so what they've got to do is continue the defensive pressure, get some doubt in the Jazz's mind, make them a little tentative. Hornacek.
That's too easy. Hornacek worked his way inside, laid it in.
Lack of rotation by big people. What the Jazz were talking about, the Lakers' real weakness defensively.
Jeff has 15, 3 minutes left. Jack against Carr. Fouled out on the floor. Antoine Carr.
You get a penalty situation as we go back and see how the Lakers get crossed up defensively. Shaq came out high, didn't dance with those feet, got left out there waltzing, and it was an easy 2 for Hornacek.
They've used Shaq defensively. The Jazz have in the screen and roll every single time.
Shaq hits the free throw after the 5th foul on Antoine Carr, who leaves the game, replaced by Greg Ostertag.
Ostertag has been very effective this afternoon in being a shot blocker and a guy that's caused Shaq to make some adjustments. O'Neal gets both. That's 11 in the quarter.
And for the game, 30 points for Shaq, just about what he's been averaging throughout the playoffs.
How about Jerry Sloan's use of the big guys, though? Foster, Antoine Carr, Ostertag, Karl Malone, never really in jeopardy of losing any of them.
Malone over Blunt. Ostertag, an offensive board. He beats Shaq to the ball.
Now put it in Stockton's hands if you're the Jazz and just run some clock and give it back to Karl Malone.
When you're scrambling defensively, you don't know when the shot is coming up, and that's what's happening with the Los Angeles Lakers, and they haven't had a chance to get good defensive rebound.
Shaq's coming in transition. Good time for a lob.
There's the entry pass against Ostertag. Drives baseline and is fouled. Shaq sliding about 10 feet on his backside, and like a bowling ball, he had the pins running for cover.
It'll take him a while to wipe the floor up here. Ostertag has been playing all afternoon with his hands down around his waist. You got to get your hands out when you're guarding a dribbler, up when you're guarding a shooter.
Here's one of your questions. How about moving your feet?
That'll help a lot, too,
and not
Steve.
going with your hip. 3 in a row.
4 of his last 5 at the line. 7 of 11 on the day.
Surprised a gunner like you, Steve, knew anything about moving your feet defensively.
Missed that one. And Ostertag has the rebound. Jazz with the ball up 4. Just less than 2 minutes to play. Game 4, Jazz looking for the sweep.
7 on the shot clock.
Malone. Key bucket. Karl Malone, a tough baseline jump shot.
And he came right by the scorer's table and said, "That's in your face, Steve Jones."
Well, he said that dagger was out, and that was the dagger right there. Lakers still within 6, going to O'Neal.
There's the entry pass. O'Neal, an easy one. And one. Not a smart play for the Jazz. Should have conceded that one. He has a chance for a 3-point play.
The Lakers... Excuse me, the Jazz have not fronted at any time. Karl Malone just waits patiently, steps back. That's a Larry Bird shot right there, to step back when you're 6'10". But why is Ostertag fronting in that situation?
Shaq completes the 3-point play. It's a 3-point game with 1:30 left. Stockton is fouled.
Eddie Jones riding him all the way. That's going to quiet the crowd down. They had really worked themselves up into a fever pitch, but he couldn't get across the screen. Stockton just bearing in, so it'll be a pair of free throws for Stockton and the Jazz.
John has not shot a terrific percentage in this conference finals, but he's not had a lot of attempts either.
That's only his 3rd point of this game. Antoine Carr with 5 fouls for the Jazz, the only player in danger of being disqualified at the moment, but several players, as you see, in foul trouble. Here's Carr returning for the Jazz.
Well, Ostertag having trouble with the position of O'Neal. They're going to bring in Antoine Carr, who's able to put a big body on him. Stockton gets them both.
Stockton hits 2 to push the Jazz lead to 5. Van Exel looking for Shaq to post low. Malone's checking in now. There's the entry pass. Shaq spins and is fouled by Karl Malone. That'll be his fourth.
The best thing for the Lakers is the clock is stopping with every possession. They're on the edge of their seats. They don't know whether Malone has run his streak. He was at 3 in a row, 4 out of 5, and then he missed the last time. Can he reestablish?
Meanwhile, the hack of Shaq has not been working because he's been hitting his free throws. You see the free throw shooting by the Lakers as Shaq misses the second. Fox kept it alive, but the Jazz have it. And it looks like a foul called on Corey Blunt attempting to get the loose ball.
And you can see Magic standing there with his head down. The loose ball was just right out there for the taking. You just see the dejection on his face. Will somebody please show some quickness out here in anticipation as to where that ball is going?
The Jazz have been the better team. They have been quicker to the ball the entire series, so you shouldn't be surprised. He has said, we haven't played this team as well as we can. We haven't made the adjustments. And the Utah Jazz in Stockton, they continue to make the big play when they have to.
See the unique partnership on this Jazz team. Unique in this league. They got a combination of young guys and old guys. They got big guys that set screens for little guys out top. They got little guys setting screens for big guys underneath. Really a symbiotic relationship on this team.
90-84 Utah looking for the sweep.
Matt, got your email. Vancouver? Genius. Passed it on to Epps. He's running it through the Northwest.
Hey, Matt. Ideas a hit in the Northwest. I've got purchasing checking suppliers.
We want it up top. Client briefing. Your Vancouver idea.
Want to take your business to the next level? The Michelin X1. Thanks to Michelin technology, it gives you long mileage and better wet braking than any rain tire. And that should make everyone on a wet road happy.
Is your name Sally? Sally the Salad Eater? No, you're a high life man, and you don't care who knows it. You're not scared to enjoy Miller time.
It's so reliable, you could practically weld the hood shut and drive it forever. The new Corolla. And it's your lucky day. Now, many features you'd expect to pay extra for come standard on the new Corolla LE. Value is back.
And now another Just Shoot Me moment. What do you do with that hideous gift from your boss?
No! Slippery.
Just Shoot Me, NBC, Thursdays.
The professional basketball life of Jerry West has been blanketed in Forum blue and gold. The 13-time All-Star used his extraordinary skills to help the Lakers to 9 NBA Finals. His greatest triumph as a player, the 72 Laker championship. The memory of that moment still lingering in the Forum today. But the end of a long-lasting relationship, the team to which he gave so much, could be coming to an end. Is this the final game over which Jerry West will preside as the Laker vice president? He has said this summer he may be leaving the Lakers. A question of burnout, of health problems maybe, or is it a matter simply of money between he and the owner, Dr. Jerry Buss?
I can't imagine the Lakers without Jerry West, but Magic's comments, they didn't sound that confident or positive.
Time for one final effort, and Shaquille O'Neal with a chance for a three-point play.
Again, it has been O'Neal that has been putting them on his back and keeping them close to chance for a three-point play as Carl fouls out of the ball game.
Antoine Carr disqualified with 6.
That play took 5 seconds. So the Lakers, if they can get 3, still have plenty of time. Chris Morris coming in the ball game. For Antoine Carr, they're going small.
Well, the Jazz going with an offensive lineup here. They'll play Karl Malone in the middle. Remember, when the Jazz went on that great run at the end of this regular season that ensured them the home court advantage throughout the playoffs, it was when they went small like this where they played their best basketball.
O'Neal hits the free throw for the three-point play. He has 38 points, and the Lakers are within 3. Final minute. Stockton looking inside, guarded by Jones. 10 to shoot. Stockton lost it out of bounds. Laker ball.
Tom, one of the few times you'll see John Stockton stuck along that baseline. That's what the last place a guard wants to be.
When he was younger, he was quicker. He wouldn't have got stuck.
Van Exel
coming back to Shaq.
Shaq sets a screen, pick and roll. Now Shaq posting low against Malone. Flashes it back out to Fox. 8 to shoot. Malone puts it up and in. No basket. No basket. Foul before the shot.
Well, they waited. They showed as much patience as they had the entire 4-game series before delivering the ball to Shaquille O'Neal. O'Neal gets the foul, the crowd right on the edge of their feet and standing.
Malone misses, or O'Neal misses the first free throw, and for Karl Malone, that's 5 fouls.
Now, all the Lakers have to be prepared for a miss. Right now, they got to think miss and try to get this rebound.
Well, look at the Utah guards checking out Eddie Jones and Van Exel in front.
O'Neal misses 2. Ball stripped away. Loose ball foul. Rich Fox to the Lakers.
The strength of Karl Malone in grabbing that rebound. He's established himself underneath all game long.
Now, you ask too much. You really do ask too much of Shaq. I mean, he has a history of poor free throwing. He's been tremendous this afternoon. And with all of the weight sitting right here, you stick him on the line. He misses 2. Nobody's ready to rebound. Karl Malone's had a great afternoon rebounding the ball. Crowd begging for some misses.
Malone has been deadly at the free throw line. He has missed only 1 shot, 12 of 13. Now 13 of 14 at the free throw line. He has 31 points.
And remember, this was a guy that had a chance to win Game 1 in Chicago with some free throws. So you talk about dealing with pressure, he knows the deal.
But you're also talking about a franchise that knows about skill development, about character development. It epitomizes the entire Utah organization. Karl Malone here with a chance. 4-point lead.
Karl Malone knocks down 2 pressure free throws after Shaq had missed 2. 26.3 seconds remaining. The Jazz up 92-87 in search of the sweep.
Sometimes I dream that he is me. Got to see it how I dream to be. Boom, 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 boom. I dream I move. I dream I move like Mike.
If I could be like Mike. If I could be like...
What's up, Mike?
I'm not going to sing.
What?
How do you get this equipment to these troops when there's a river between them? Build a bridge. Problem solving. You need it now in college. Learn it now in the Army Reserve.
All that you can be.
And now, a Just Shoot Me moment, with exotic models wearing next to nothing.
Don't tell me, looking for the sweet and low? Okay, the good news is I have 2 D cups in my face.
Just Shoot Me on NBC Thursdays.
5-point Utah lead, 26.3 seconds left in this game 4.
Well, the Los Angeles Lakers are going to try to get a quick score. They've got to take the quick early score, then they got to try to come back, make a gamble, try to steal the ball, stop the clock. Jazz are not going to let them have it easy.
Kobe Bryant against Russell. Takes it to the rim and one. Just what they wanted.
Very little time off the clock. Jerry Sloan can't believe.
Well, there's a foul here. So if you're going to get a call, you don't. They let him continue on. He hangs Kobe Bryant.
I didn't even see the second foul.
Right. I think you're right. I didn't either.
Jerry Sloan is telling his troops, move the ball, move the ball.
Free throw rolls in. It's a 2-point game. 22 seconds left.
Well, the Jazz don't have to shoot, so the Lakers are going to have to do something. They're going to have to stop the clock.
They can't foul Stockton. They give it to Foster. Somebody needed to foul him.
Now they talk about that moving the ball.
And now they finally have to foul John Stockton. Stockton or Hornacek were the ones you did not want to foul. Foster had it for a moment, but no one was ready to foul him. There you see the Foster, although he's a pretty good free throw shooter, Hornacek and normally Stockton are deadly.
Well, the Jazz have been the best free throwing team through the regular season. Your theory is that it's not how many you take, but how many you make, or is it the other way around?
It's not how many you make, it's how many you take. The Lakers just didn't take enough, Steve. That's the
They
thing.
needed about 60 at the rate they were going. The Jazz have hit 14, now 15 free throws in a row. That'll win a lot of games. And the lead is 4 with 10.5 seconds left. We'll be back after these messages from your local station, the NBA on NBC.
NBC Tonight. Beethoven's back, and he brought some friends. A special Sunday movie for the whole family. Beethoven's Second, 7/6 Central, NBC Tonight. Shirley MacLaine is the First Lady.
That's a good boy.
Nicolas Cage has to watch her.
Hold the pin. I'm a Secret Service agent, not a caddy.
Guarding Tess, NBC Tonight.
I have to be smart when I shop.
Then you can't miss the Ward's Memorial Day sale.
I have to save money.
4 days to save all over the store.
I want to get there first. I want to get there early.
All furniture and appliances on sale.
I'm going to go get my dishwasher today.
Plus 0 interest and free delivery on all furniture and appliances.
I want to make sure that I cover every bit of that store.
Shop smart on big brands.
Big list. I'm going to go through it and just shop until I fall down.
Shop smartly well. Don't forget your Ward's card.
People ask us why we built here when we could have built anywhere in the world.
They love it here because it's just quiet.
He always knew that he would win the lottery.
We got it now.
They seem to be very down-to-earth people. We really love it here. We love the people here. We don't mind if millionaires come here.
The lotto winners get the same treatment as anybody else does.
I use their swimming facilities when they're not around. This is not Beverly Hills.
Susan and Ralph are still Susan and Ralph. They just have more money.
I'm Mike Arford. You're watching TLV 12.
4-point game at 10.5 seconds, and we talked about the great bench play of the Utah Jazz, but with the game on the line, it's been the big three. Malone, Stockton, and Hornacek. They have scored the Jazz last 20 points.
And Jerry Sloan's brought back Greg Foster. They don't want to have Karl Malone possibly foul out.
Van Exel lays it in, 7.3 seconds. Remember all the precious seconds they wasted last time before fouling.
They do it again.
Foster with a jam and one, and that'll do it. 2.5 seconds left.
They do it again. After they got the quick hitting play, they never could get to the ball, and you can see the dejection on the Los Angeles Lakers bench as they never responded the way that they should have through the 4 games.
Steve, I like what the Jazz did here in terms of moving the ball, not just standing there waiting to get fouled. It's one thing if you're Jeff Hornacek, yeah, but you see the excitement, the exuberance on the Utah Jazz bench. Greg Foster, who's been through the wars, who's been the victim of a lot of unfortunate career breaks.
They did the right thing and missed. Eddie Jones.
And that's the final horn, and the sweep is complete. The Western King still reigns. The Utah Jazz are returning to the NBA Finals. 96-92, Utah with a sweep of the Lakers. Let's go to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much. I'm now with Karl Malone. Karl, you're headed back to the finals. Never anticipated this sweep. How much will the home court advantage help you in the finals?
Well, I think the most important thing now is for us to savor this for a minute. We had a lot of things working against us all year long, but everybody stepped up and continued to play. I think it's going to mean a lot to us, but now the most important thing is we have to protect our home court because whoever we play is going to be a tough challenge, and we just need to take one game at a time. But we put ourselves in this position all year long when a lot of people didn't give us a chance. I'm really proud of the guys.
2 questions in one here. 10 days off, 7 to 10 days off, help or hurt? And do you get the feeling that you're getting this John Elway type of sentiment around the country? They'd like to see you and Stockton win a championship?
Well, I don't like to talk about that much, but I did watch Denver. And when John Elway dove for that first down, it really said a lot. And that's the feeling I'm starting to get. But I watched Denver. I love Green Bay also, but I watched Denver, and it's like one of those things that you was proud of them. But we have to go do it on the floor. And I just want to say that everybody hung in there tough and did the job we're capable of doing. And I just want to say back home, love you guys. We're going back.
We'll see you in the finals, Karl.
All right.
Congratulations. All right, back over to you, Tom.
All right, Jim. Karl with 32 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 assists. He scored 10 points in the last 8 minutes. Game-high honors Shaquille O'Neal with 38. Be sure to join us tomorrow on NBC Sports for more NBA playoff action. The day starts at 3 p.m. Eastern with NBA Showtime and Dennis Rodman. Then the Chicago Bulls and Indiana Pacers in Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals tomorrow on NBC. For Bill Walton, Steve Jones, and Jim Gray, this is Tom Hammond saying so long from Los Angeles. This has been a presentation of the NBA on NBC.